triple kill, but Son of Finn, he'll deny the plant. He sees 2 more kills. Oh my god! Son of Finn will find more!
Where's Miracle? He's trying to come upstairs, but Crafty will get the ace. He'll get the plant. He'll do it all.
Device, misses shots. He's gonna have to go for the front.
Oh,
he pushes
Dylan!
on through. Dylan is better.
Round 2, and there's another as Tyrant is finished off, and they all line up for Bone.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. SCS Season 5, Week 3 is returning with another phenomenal match. My name is Chief Cass. My partner in crime, he's crossing the pond today. Mr. McCready, my friend, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm really excited because we are in the halfway point of the group stages at the moment. I'm very excited because these two teams I've heard a lot about. Team Mystic I've seen before, and No Plans I've heard a lot, but I haven't been able to cast before, and I'm very excited to get in because this is a big game, isn't it, Chief?
Oh, I mean, these teams are leading their groups right now. Now, one of them has a little bit more of a points lead on the other, which we'll talk in a bit, but I'm excited to see what these rosters are capable of, because No Plants, they're sitting down technically in T3. Their opponents, Mystic, they're sitting as a Challenger League roster, T2. And honestly, I could not predict what is going to happen today. I know in my heart, there's one of these teams that I want to win since I love the players in the roster, but you can't be biased as a caster. We're just going to have to see who's the better team at the end of the day.
And moving on to what we do know, let's take a look at that roadmap that's going to be moving in front of us. As you can see, we are right in the middle of the group stages. We have got week 4 and 5 yet to go, then we move into playoffs. So this is realistically the main time to really show that you are consistent and you are able to really step it all up. You're seeing teams coming in and they've played most of it, but now you need to show the improvement. Now you need to show adaptability and keep on getting those wins in the case of the two teams we've seen today.
And we've seen some rosters struggle in week 1 and 2 where they didn't come out of the gates as hot as they wanted, but now that we're actually at that halfway point, starting to get closer towards playoffs, every mistake you make will compound, and you cannot do that. You have to be on your A game for the rest of these weeks.
And when we look at the standings, you're going to see exactly why. And exactly why I'm very excited to get into this at the moment. You can see Team Mystic at the very top. They're followed by No Plans. The two teams that we are going to be seeing today, Mystic are undefeated and have that plus 13 round difference. A very strong position to be in. Team Plants, they've only taken one loss, so they've been very strong so far. But they need to try and topple the very, very best in their group.
Yeah, what's concerning about No Plants, though, they're sitting in second place, sure, which is a great place being, but Aerial Rise is 1 point behind them, Smoke Break is 2 points behind them, and the same thing is said for Down to Earth, tied in that 4th spot. So, No Plants, again, they're in a position where they have to win every single game and every map, and, you know, that means sometimes maybe not taking to overtime, unless you're down over on match point. But, again, we're going to have to see what these teams are capable of today.
Yes, now, looking at the teams themselves, let's bring up the actual rosters real quick, sorry, the standings we were just seeing. You've got some huge players on the board there. Gunnar and Feltwinter, I think I'm excited to see them, but Chief, let's see, what are you really thinking of when you see No Plans? What should I look out for?
GXD and Junior, the legacy players from SCL Season 3, they, well, were standout then, and they're going to be standout now. They've grown as players since then, over a year ago, and now I'm just impressed with everything they've accomplished in their time as players. Honestly, all 10 players are brilliant. They're phenomenal, and they've accumulated so many accolades, it's almost to the point where you can't list them.
And I'm looking at this roster check right now. You're seeing the round plays different. Well, that granted, that does say, okay, Mystic, they've got a bit more room, realistically. They've played more games, they have a lot more potential to actually show what they're made of. And you can see in the attack and defense, that's good. But No Plants, they've played less, so the percentages should realistically favor them. However, that's not the case. On attack and defense, they're at least a good 10, 4, 8% away from Mystic. And it doesn't sound like much, but realistically, when you're coming up to this midway point in the group stages, it is, as you can actually see a lot of the overall ratings that the players have had.
And one thing I want to highlight in this series, it's going to be those primary entries. So Junior for No Plants and Feltwinter for Mystic. And, I mean, if you look at their entry ratings right now, I mean, Feltwinter is leading Junior by a country mile. And that, we're going to have to see what these all-aim Ashes do. I mean, and that's the beauty about these players. They actually have a brain attached to them, too. So that's just going to make them this lethal cutting tool. And Siberian joining the No Plants roster, he is going to be that unknown entity, and we're going to have to see how he incorporates himself in his new 5-stack.
Yeah, it's always scary when an Ash main has a brain. Like, think about it back when they had an ACOG. If you put an Ash player with a brain into a lobby, oh, that was something scary completely. But the predictions now, well, this is telling a very dominant story. Not just the staff one, but also the community poll as well. We're looking at 28% of a draw, whereas everyone else thinks this is pretty much decided. And most of us, well, including the staff, do think that Team Mystic are going to be taking this out.
And No Plants, they're a great roster, but the experience of Team Mystic, that's why they took my vote at the end of the day. But, I mean, look at my percentage accuracy down there at 20%. I mean, obviously, whatever I pick is wrong. So, you know, I guess that means No Plants are going to take the day. I mean, I guess at the reverse sweep, or maybe just if I pick you, you end up losing. There's a Chief curse that was going around in Season 4 that Synthetic was joking about, and maybe it's come in Season 5.
Yeah, we never get away from it. But the map veto is what we're going to be looking at and seeing where we're going to be taking ourselves tonight. Now, a very, very shocking story, Chief. Why don't you run us through this very quickly?
Bore again. My least favorite map is going to be coming, and then Kafe, which is ironic. The same maps that we saw in our previous series, just reversed. Chalet has been added to the ban phase, removed from Theme Park, which I would like to see. We saw it in the NAL today, or not, yeah, the EUL today. It was played, it was shown, it was loved, and I would like to see Chalet, you know, have some love here in SCS.
Yes, but not today, unfortunately. Like you said, we're going to be going to Oregon, No Plans taking the defense with Kafe being the pick of No Plans. So like you said, exactly what we just saw. Now these maps, they're going to be where we want to see the default strats coming out from both teams. We're going to want to see the basics, because that's where you win and lose on these maps. It's not who has the ability to just take something new and just run with it, like you might see on Chalet or maybe Consulate. Well, it's realistically just, can you do the strat properly? Can you win your gunfights? Have you got the right pieces in play? And, well, the last time we saw Team Mystic, I saw Team Mystic at least, was with you, Chief, in those open quals, and there were a few things that I very much wanted to see them tightened up, and from the score, but I can at least say that they have.
So, talking about Oregon, which is going to be our first map, you know, there's been a few new bans entering in the phase. Habana has been one of those operators are constantly removed, and it's the same philosophy as Clubhouse, where you have to remove the Habana if you want to successfully impact trick. Now, in North America, one of our biggest and most debated topics is whether or not do you go to the tertiary bomb site, do you go to the quaternary bomb site? They're all attached to kitchen, whether it's meeting or dining, but you have to remove that Habana if you want to bypass impact tricking, or if you want to bring out dining room, you have to impact trick, which means you can't have a bot on the board. The reason being, she's changed her configurations. Instead of just being stuck in 2x6, she can now be 2x2 and 2x1.
Yeah, I realistically want to see a Cade being taken away if we do see that Habana ban, because in doing so, well, the hatches, they're a lot more difficult to go with, but no plans. They're going to be removing that Thatcher. They're going to be taking it away, and, well, let's be honest, it's not surprising at all, but let's just talk about why very quickly. You've got the Thatcher, you've got the ability to just remove the utility, only for a couple of seconds, granted, but in a coordinated team, those couple of seconds are vital. The Maverick, though, will be taken away, and suddenly that meeting hatch is looking a lot more difficult if Cade stays on the board.
Well, that's the same philosophy. If you want to deny a wall access and you have to use impact grenades, Maverick can also bypass that. He is going to be just a hot knife through butter on North Attic. He can, cut a small circle rotation on the right side of the attic wall, and then you can do multiple lines. So there can be a prone player, a player on the stairwell, or one standing, challenging directly into South Pit. Cade, also, very common ban. It's, again, that same philosophy. You want to try and have as much access to those walls as possible when you're an attacker, but if you have Thatcher available to you, it doesn't matter. But since it's a Maverick and a Thatcher ban, good luck holding the walls.
Yeah, honestly, I'm looking at this. We're hearing that the Mirror is going to be the last ban, and we're not really surprised. But the Cade ban with the Maverick, that's having a lot of implications to me that I'm very excited to see how it goes. Because, for example, if you want that meeting hatch, well, you can't just pop an Electroclaw on it. Now you've got to go into that meeting itself. That opens you up to the risk of those flanks and the roams coming out from the defenders, in this case, Team Mystic. So, simply what I like to do in my Uni League games is I will go up there with Malusi, I will take the impact nades, I will open the hatch, and the meeting wall. I suddenly get an angle all the way onto those tower stairs. I can also see anybody coming into the actual meeting itself. And, well, you could just cause a lot of pain. If you see that as an attacker, well, realistically, you're saying, well, I've got to clear it out. I've got to either expose myself to this angle, or I waste time clearing them out. That allows the defenders a lot of opportunities to get you on a wild goose chase. But let's be jumping into the game. Are we going to see exactly that? Siberian bringing the Nitro Cell probably wants the kill instead. And, well, let's be honest, Chief, can you really blame them?
I mean, Nitro Cell Bonanza is always a fun place to be. Multiple deployable shields is also just as a fun place to be. Now, GXD was a TCSG warrior back in the day. He kind of pioneered how awful that weapon was. So will he be bringing out his old classic favorite, or is he going to be on that UMP game? Or not UMP, the Vector game. And honestly, on this bomb site, you can really make that TCSG slug shotgun work. And if you're holding a deployable shield over by the actual laundry itself on a deep angle looking towards the west of Freezer, you can pretty much shut down all the attackers. You can hold some crazy pixel angles. And even if you want to hold that closet, you can do the exact same philosophy, just trying to make as much of a difficult possibility for the attackers working their way down the stairwell.
Yeah, looking at the setup from No Plans, they're very much saying, okay, we want to take some gunfights, we want to force you into unsavory positions. The Wamai, the Goyo, the lines of sight that are being created, like you talked about, they're really going to encapsulate what I'm thinking of here. We're seeing that Banshee, as soon as that goes off, well, you either throw a smoke grenade or a C4. Doesn't really matter which, you still do the damage, you're still denying that plan. But Mystic, they are going to have a very early entry into the meeting. They're going to be clearing out this area. They're going to be looking to do what I said, getting that E-box open so they can push blue. If you can do that very quickly, then you have a lot of breathing room for this final attack. Can maybe think about sending a player towards your laundry or towards your freezer. In doing so, you make life just a little bit harder for the defenders, and if you are looking to maintain your undefeated run, that's pretty much the goal, but we will see a little bit of utility use at the moment. But no kills just yet, Chief.
There's that part of that utility you're highlighting being removed on the back stairs, and that's going to put Junior in a position. Will he go for this challenge? No, he's actually answered with his own utility, putting those with my pancakes, preventing anything that Mystic sends down those north stairs. It's going to be grad mid-flight. So that's going to be another one of these little puzzles that Mystic is going to have to deal with. They're going to have to flash dump if they want to deal with the pressure over by that pillar. Now Gunner working his way down the freezer stairs. He's going to spot a member of No Plants. He's going to look to take that gunfight, but no bullets are going to be connecting. And he actually rotates back up that stairwell. So it seems like the IGL of the attacking roster is determined we're no longer going to need the West as our push-in point. We're going to be dropping in from E-Box.
Well, I'm seeing this and I'm thinking, okay, you've made your presence known. No Plants know that you're there. You don't need to aggress it. They know they need to cover that angle, and Feltwinter is going to try and get advantage of that by shooting you in the back. However, it's going to be Donkey who starts us off. Gunner quickly with the refrag, able to find that kill, and suddenly 40 seconds on the clock. Feels like it's gone by very quickly, but the late round is approaching. The Havana pellets will be starting to go through and open up that E-box, allowing the attackers to start making their presence known. That elbow hold, though, that's going to cause a lot of issues. Blanky is still alive and still has those smoke canisters. That means, well, you've got to burn a little bit more time and get on the aggression. Rexavy will start that plant, but the C4 will go through. It won't be able to find a killer, but Whitlock will. And suddenly, a 3 versus 4. 10 seconds on the clock. Gunner's going to be knocked down as Siberian's able to find another one to Rexavy. And now this just isn't what you want to see if you're the undefeated players. Zeno can't land the kill onto GXD, and Siberian will close things out. And No Plants, a very comfortable defense. Very, very secure. Very, very aware of what was going on.
That round started in a great fashion for No Plants because all of their off-site pressure and on-site pressure, they weren't being droned. And that's perplexing to say the least because we saw at least 3 drones just fly down those north stairs. How do you not check Harry Potter? That is one of the most common positions to be lurking and hiding in because, well, you can avoid flashbangs, you can avoid nades, and more importantly, you can shoot attackers in their backs. And also, after that kind of was dealt with, what did Mystic really do? They just sat on the north side of the basement and just tried to throw bodies at their problem, trying to dodge around the nitro cells. But that's why the crossfires are so crucial. That's why we see teams push down those freezer stairs. So at least some of those gun barrels that No Plants had all facing the north have to be trained towards the west. And you can start to bypass some of those nitro cells because they're going to be a little bit more focused on the stairwell of the west.
Now, moving up to this top floor, I want to see a similar performance from No Plants. I want to see comfortable, I want to see measured aggression. Forgive me, I am I'm choking on my drink a little bit, but I want to see measured aggression. I want to see them taking the gunfights they know that they're going to win, and in situations they know they're going to die, then they're at least making something happen. One example would be the player, that donkey playing in Harry Potter, able to find a kill onto Felt. If you're able to at least make the attackers pay, well then you're in a really good position moving forward.
You know what I like about this roster is, at least on the No Plant side, is how everybody can play any role you give them. Junior, he wants to play that entry role, but he's actually playing that flex role, and he did a great job at that. So that's something where you need to highlight from No Plants moving through both Map 1, which is Oregon, and Map 2 of Kafe. How are they going to be utilizing their talent? Is it going to be, everyone just plays aggressive? Are they going to be, mixing it up? And that's quite an aggressive run out. We're talking about how good Junior can be. He flies out, but he doesn't actually get the kill. Rexavy was on drone. Not sure how Junior messed that up, but at least the bright side of that is Rexavy is now going to be on 35 HP.
Yeah, at least when you look at the late round, well, it's not going to be as bad. Feltwinter, though, will be looking to punish Junior for the, well, I'm just going to call it the gall, I think, as Junior will be able to just pull back up white stairs, no contest. But the longer you play around that bottom white, the more chance that Feltwinter will have of taking you out. But opting instead to get the utility on the wall, not a bad play, because it allows you to actually get an entry onto site. Now, Rexavy, like you said, is tagged quite a bit, but will be able to open that wall, and will be able to keep those flashbangs ready for the plan. In doing so, staying alive, really offering a huge opportunity to the team. No plants, though. They are playing it safe. They're playing it careful. The gunner has a huge opportunity right now. The bullet hole will not spot Blanky, but you're still alive at that point. You're setting up all the pieces that you want for the actual execute itself.
That west window rappel is going to be so crucial simply because Gunner did not break the glass. So when the glass is broken, it allows sound to move through the window a little bit better. The information was given through the bullet hole. Donkey's going to fall as well as Junior. It's a swift execute so far by Team Mystic. They have control of the white stairs, and they're going to have control of South Games in a moment. That means they can go for the plant, but Rexavy, who was tasked with that plant, has now been felled. The diffuser was temporarily surrendered, but Whitlock has now picked it back up. There are so many explosions and craters in that floor. That's a position for no plants to actually rotate underneath and deal with that. But Blanky now falling, that means you're going to have to keep your gun barrels trained all the way towards the south. Now Siberian bringing out that Echo, he can also deny that plant, but his gadgetry may have been lost already in future engagements. Now the plant going down, the first Echo concussion goes out, but Whitlock, he's just going to keep sticking it. GXD needs to swing. He needs to take these gunfights, but he's locked in a crossfire. He has to push now. His teammate has fallen, and it's all going to be in the back of GXD. It's a hopeless engagement, which he'll die.
Okay, so I said how I wanted no plan to keep the measured aggression. Well, Mystic, they listened to me as well and said, you know what, we're going to go with that instead. Very nicely played from them. You had Feltwinter looking for the vertical play. Put a little bit of pressure over towards Junior after that run-out did come through, but realized that's not really going to be an issue. That was more of a misplay, especially with the old guard coming through. They didn't get the kill. He knew he wasn't going to get away with it again. Team Mystic, they put Feltwinter, look towards Zed, and just say, okay, well, if nobody's there for a little bit longer, you can come back, we get the wall open. Very nice positioning from them. The gunner, incredible play on that window, getting that bullet hole and not breaking the glass. Finding that kill from Blanky opens things up at the crucial moment that you really need it to. And suddenly, no plants are starting to try and fill in the gaps, which Mystic are already flooding through. You've seen the players moving into the breach. GXC didn't have a C4 anymore. The plant was starting to go down. And there was too many crossfires. And that's what I love about Kid Storms. There's so many crossfires that you could just elect. Well, it's almost impossible for a team that is struggling to keep going. So the better team will 9 times out of 10 win.
And to build upon that a little more, I want no plans to expand their bomb site just a couple buffer rooms out. If you're not familiar with what buffer rooms are, they're just basically rooms that surround a bomb site. So, for example, Trophy is going to be one of those crucial ones. You can put a deployable shield just about anywhere there, and you don't necessarily need to play behind it in an aggressive manner. But what you can do is you can snipe away a drone and maybe force Mystic to not send their primary hard breach up right away. That's going to be about 10 seconds of time waste because they're going to have to call in for reinforcements and bring in one of those primary entries. And Feltwinter, he is going to be tasked with pushing in on that first floor as charging underneath that South Games wall to remove that mute jammer. So if you take him away from that position, applying pressure from underneath, that can put Mystic in an awkward position.
Yeah, and in doing so, you don't have that entry fragger looking to really drive up the intensity. Instead, though, you do have Junior looking away the worst second, taking some damage from Feltwinter himself, who will secure that kill. Finding the Malusi, taking the C4 off the board, and most importantly, keeping Junior as an employee of a certain donut shop that we all know and love. But we're not done yet. Donkey's also playing down below. The utility is being taken off the wall. But with Donkey playing there, you have the opportunity for that late flank. You will have to deal with the air jabs, but Donkey, we've seen one kill at least coming out. I want to see more. Blanky, though, will be falling to Xeno, and suddenly, well, things aren't looking great for no plant. Mystic have the 2-player advantage, they have the breach, and they have a lot of time to work with as well. Feltwinter, though, will be taken down by Donkey, yet again hiding in those little corners, just being a little bit of a snake, getting back upstairs to White. Now, being there for that late push is essential. Gunner will be stopping them, however, by finding that kill.
2v4, we still have 100 seconds left in this round. This is more than enough time for Mystic to just kind of sit back and relax. They also have more than enough drone economy available to them to identify exactly where the 2 remaining players of No Plants are isolated, and then you push them one by one, using that man advantage of going on a temporary 4v1 and then an actual 4v1. Zeno, he swings, he'll be down but not out, but Gunner will save his teammate's life. Now a true 1v4, and GXD isolated over in pit. His position has been spotted and given away, and Gunner is going to finish him. Mystic have had a dominant performance on dorms, and no plants need to change up their bomb site. Fortunately for them, basement is now opened up.
Yeah, they have the opportunity to go back down there and recreate some of the magic that really made that bomb site their round to win in a way that it just hasn't been when we've been looking at kids and dorms, because on kids dorms, we've seen Mystic. They've been able to get advantage and get control of a lot of power positions, like those white stairs, like that down below where you could do the vertical play with Felt, like that trophy and games wall. That's just really very well executed from them. They were able to open things up and maneuver themselves around the map in a way the defenders should be doing. But heading down to bottom, this is where we saw them struggle. A bit of misrunning from Mystic, a little bit of oversight, I think I'm going to say, by you leaving the elbow player up when you're pushing into blue. Not only does that expose you to a flank, but like we saw, the smoke canisters, they just delay the time, combined with the C4 of the players still on the board. Mystic, they had a very early entry onto the actual building and into meeting. I want to see them think a little bit more for what they're getting then. I want to see them being able to find a pick, find at least some utility taken off the board. If they could do that, they'll be in a much better position. However, only time is going to tell.
Now, Mystic, and all three of their attacks have all been linear, pushing in from one direction. The only time we've actually seen them attempt to do something that wasn't linear was the last time we're downstairs in the basement, where they showed their hand a little bit with that freezer stairwell, but then they ended up going for their true linear take and just doing all a north execute. Now, while that strategy worked out on dorms, it might not be able to work out on basement, because what's helping Mystic be successful on dorms is their ability to use the outside the map. Those windows, whether or not it's that north window, they also have opened up that west window of big temporarily, but they never actually used that. But again, it was them trying to create pressure points, and that's the most important thing. Felt Winter is going to do that once again, pushing down the freezer stairs, but he's going to retreat almost like he's being flanked. And indeed, there was a temporary flank coming up those north stairs, but Donkey, he's going to return back and sit on the north, at least temporarily.
Yes, now we're seeing Mystic, they want just a completely different approach. The north and blue side just didn't work, so they're going to take control of it as if they were pushing that and just rotate around. The hatches, they're going to be made short work of, and the pre-fires over to Donkey's way are going to say, well, maybe they're aware that something's going on that just shouldn't be. Gunner is going to be down in laundry at the forefront of this attack, looking to really just get information, get a pick, do some damage, do literally anything you can. No plans though, they're just sitting down, they're playing it safe, they're just biding their time because every second that ticks down only works in favor of Mystic. Speaking of Mystic, they're going to start pushing through that. Gemini is going to be taken away, but Gunner knows exactly where at least one player is. Feltwinter will get that information as well. The double-edged sword is about to start going in, and it is about to start pushing. Siberian, though, will be able to find the tip and takes away Whitlock from the board. The frag grenade not doing the killing damage to Siberia, but it's pushing them back. Freezer's starting to open up now. Feltwinter looking for the kill into the laundry area, but the players are pulled back. Now Mystic have a real good avenue onto site, and the frag grenade is going to try and secure that. But Gunner's going to be taken down by Siberian, finding their second and looking for their third, but it's not going to happen. Feltwinter just says no.
Look at this elevated position. It could pay a lot of dividends, and he knows he has a drone in the little drone hole giving him that 3 ping. But he's going to have to take these gunfights, and so many of his teammates have fallen. He is going to do exactly that. GXD is now off the board. A 3v2, all in favor of no plants, though. They can use time as that asset. If User was temporarily surrendered, as one of the members of Mystic was fallen working his way down the freezer stairs, but Feltwinter will reground that. They're going to have to start to push together and take these gunfights sooner rather than later. Time is really not on the side. Donkey is going to receive a lot of HP lost, but he's still alive and active, and that's going to be critical as we hit 20 seconds on the clock. Feltwinter is going to be the bad end of some bullets going over his head, and Zeno's in the sign. He's down but not out. It's now a 1v3 confirmed by the shotgun. Looking the wrong gray is going to be Blanky, and the bomb goes down the deck. It's going to be all a bait and switch, and the Pokeball claims the day. Feltwinter will fall.
Well, that's just rough, isn't it? You look at that, the plant goes down, you know the player's low, so the Pokeball comes out, and look at you, you're catching yourself a nice little Feltwinter. And no plants, their defensive success is going to be 0% on Kids Dorm, 100% on that basement. So it's no surprise that we're going to see them go into Meeting Hall Kitchen now because, well, Kids hasn't worked twice, and it's my kind of thing of, if it doesn't work once, yeah, go back there. But if it doesn't work twice, you don't have enough rounds to keep on going. You can, by all means, try that tertiary site. No plants are going to be listening. They're going to be bringing a very typical setup for this site, and typically you'll see maybe an Echo or a Maestro. You might see, yeah, there's a six-pick picking up that Maestro onto Siberian, but I want to highlight a big issue here. Siberian has the most kills of no plants, and Siberian has been on the Malusi, but is leaning towards more of that flex role. So, Chief, the big question for me is, well, why is Siberian picking up the majority of the kills when your Jaeger is struggling to? Yeah, you're getting a couple of picks on the flank, but that's only by taking gunfights Mystic just aren't expecting at all.
So I think to answer your question, it just comes down to the playstyle. And at the end of the day, when you have an Alta and all 82 bullets, you're just going to be that last line of defense. The same thing with your smoke players. So if your Jaeger is playing super aggressive and losing that engagement, well, it makes sense that your safety, your last line of defense is going to be credited with more kills because there's more attackers on the board and they just have that clutch position, which we've always seen, players bait or pad stats, whatever buzzword you want to use. That tends to be how we see support players get the majority of their kills. Sometimes it's impactless frags, but the newest addition of No Plants, Siberian, all of his kills, at least the majority of them, have been impactful.
Okay, I think that's a pretty good argument. I don't think I can really contest that. So, looking at that, well, Siberian is definitely doing a good job for the defending side at the moment. Mystic, they are going to be looking to take control of this big tower because if they can do that, they get big tower, they take control of attic so they can rip open the floor, then they shoot the denial on the wall down below. And doing so, you can defend yourselves in big tower very, very easily. And you can just go for a plant up against the desk, or you could push forward to split, force a wide swing on that retake. Right now, though, the Kid Storm take is going to be taking place with Gunner looking to lead the charge. Very wary of what could be a player in attic. Will be drawn out safe, so you know now that you need to go into trophy. You need to go into the games room and into dorms itself. Felwinter will be making that rotate, and they have a real good opportunity to start putting some pressure on. Just avoiding a vertical angle, Felwinter just casually doing it. Now, Gunner can get that utility if he so desires. He spots it and wants it, but doesn't spot the player crossing over. That will be GXD being able to put that barricade up and will be caught on the return. Gunner being able to find that opening kill. Suddenly, No Plants, they're realizing, well, this is in a good position. We need the players on the side. Drop out of Kids. They're going to be pushing there. Let's just cut our losses and leave.
Poor GXD. I feel bad for that death because I would assume that was just bad communication from No Plants because Team Mystic is upstairs, which means they'll get out of control pretty quickly. So why would you make that rotation? Because that hatch is a double-edged sword. Defenders can hold it if they're holding it, which since no players of No Plants were, that means it's kind of this wild card. So you cannot be safe there. And every member of No Plants just wants to walk out of cover and die in midair. Junior playing far too aggressive. He shouldn't have been in that position at all. He should have been a little bit more passive. And you're highlighting, our fraggers just not participating enough. Well, it's off positions like that. One of my favorite buzzwords is, micro positioning. And that's a good example of it right there. Because if you put yourself in a bad corner, you tend to die. And there's the Alta saving the day again.
Yeah, we saw Donkey being able to find a third kill. Looks for another one, but Rex of Evil kill themselves. Whitlock finding Donkey. And we may find ourselves in a 2 versus 2. Whitlock does not know where the Alder is. The Alder holding that angle. Well, realistically, Feltwinter's the only one you want taking that gunfight. But with time ticking down, well, you have to push it in. 10 seconds on the clock. Whitlock doesn't spot Blanky. And Siberian will pick up a kill as well. No Plans. I'm not going to say comfortably. They just about win that out because they lost that top floor very early on. They lost quite a few players. It took a few strokes of luck to actually get back in the fight. That frag grenade being the key one. You had Donkey in the right position, and that micro positioning is where it comes into play. Playing in that rotate with the shield, with that box as cover, able to find a frag on a very nice pixel. Then Siberian playing on the freezer stairs. Well, I'm not exactly sure what the positioning idea was behind that, but, well, it worked out. So, can you really complain about it too much, Chief? There we go. That's the word I needed.
Is that a Cav I see?
It's a
McCready?
6-pick. I'm sorry.
Please, no, don't 6-pick Siberian. If you want to make Chief happy, you know what you should do? Is you should keep him available. Unfortunately, Siberian made a very sensible 6-pick into the smoke. Now, one of my pet peeves, McCready, is when teams go to bomb sites back-to-back. We would see that in round 2 and round 3. Dorms were shown.
Chief, I'm really sorry. I need to... Something that actually they just pointed out was Rexavy died to a frag grenade, if you remember that last round.
Correct.
How? Because it said it was his frag grenade.
Yeah, that's a good question. I have no idea. That's a phenomenal point. You know what? I'll give you that one. I don't have an answer to your question. What could have happened is if you took, like, world damage and, like, the last thing that killed him was, like, shrapnel flying through a wall, it actually might count as world damage. That's the only explanation I have, because we've actually seen that before, where, like, if you, like, pistol headshot somebody through multiple walls and down them, or, like, if you were to do that to your teammate, for example, you could sometimes get them as a, you know, suicide instead of a, you know, a team kill. It's just a weird engine bug issue. I don't think it's, like, that big of a deal, just, like, maybe he just, you know, maybe he didn't pay his dues to Ubisoft, and this is their just kind of, you know, fat middle finger. Anyways.
Somebody hasn't bought the new battle pass.
Exactly. The new operator, the RCXD guy, is so good. But back to round 2 and 3, double dorms. The reason why you don't go to bomb sites, you know, back to back, is sometimes your tertiary bomb site is one of your best sites. And here, no plants. Since they didn't go to meeting room in round 3, that means meeting room will be closed to them until they go in overtime. And that's really a big if. Junior is going to find his impact, and no surprise, he brings out his Malusi, and he actually wins his duels. Good on Junior.
Yeah, being able to take away Feltwinter, one of the big driving forces of Mystic at the moment, well, that's just putting yourself closer to that 4-2 split. This is a position you really want to be in on Mystic's map, of all things. So, now you've got Gunner on that kid's window again, but like you said before, like you said in the earlier rounds, the big issue is, well, there's going to be a gap somewhere now that not all 5 players are on the board. And down below, the vertical play, that's where we saw no plants. Very uncomfortable to move and being picked off, and at least information being given. Rexavy will back up. I believe that's because the threat of a C4 from Goyo hasn't got out just yet, but the threat is there, and they know it. Mystic, though, they still have that map control. They are going to start opening things up. They just need to be very careful, and Siberian needs to be patient themselves with that shotgun, with that laser sight. From that range, well, it just doesn't miss. The flashbang won't go through. Blanky, actually, with a shotgun. Sorry, I'm getting confused a little bit, but Gunner's able to find a kill onto Junior, not getting confused, finding the kill. A 4 versus 4, a minute left. Now they know about Blanky, and Blanky doesn't know. That's the key part. Blanky doesn't know one pre-fire could end him out right now. Rexavy is looking for that. The flashbang will go through. Whitlock will look for the swing, possibly. But they're just trying to make Blanky uncomfortable and just get him moving, and it seems to be working, Chief.
Well, there's the nade and the double swing. He has now fallen, and no plans forced to fight the remainder of the round once again with a man disadvantage. But Mystic, they still have a tall order in front of them. They're going to have to push the door frame as well as the rotation hole that they opened up with their hard breach. Whitlock is going to learn that lesson the hard way. He's now lost his life in that process, and both these rosters are going to find themselves tied up with the same man count 3-3 apiece. Gunner is going to rotate over, trying to create a new crossfire. He'll win one onto Donkey, and he's going to find himself now a second. A perfect position for Mystic to be in, but GXD once again back over and pin with 5 seconds. Rexavy is going to complete that diffuser, and GXD has to evolve now into an attacker, taking a gunfight that he probably won't win, and indeed he will not. Mystic, the dominant force upstairs on dorms, will continue to dominate 3 rounds on upstairs. They're just unstoppable.
Put Gunner on that G36, and well, you just aren't winning that gunfight at all. Being able to find 4 kills just by pushing up the wide stairs, very good Herculean effort, if I will, to put his team back onto that 3-3 split going on to defense. This is a great position to be in now for Team Mystic. You went 1-1, then you lost 2 rounds, so you have to pick it back up. Right now, though, you're looking at the momentum starting to shift a little bit, and the mental of no plants might not be in the right state. You had that early advantage, but your grip had started to lessen just a little bit. Mystic, though, they've been winning their gunfights. They've been manipulating the site and the situation to favor them, and they've been quite comfortable about it at the moment. So, they do currently have my favor going into the second half. They're going for that Kid Storms. They're going to take no plans to what was arguably the weaker side of their defensive split. So they're probably just hoping that it's the weaker for their attacking as well.
Look who's going to be in a play. Aruni, the newest operator to join the competitive Rainbow Six Siege scene. And, well, what she does is she's kind of this hybrid of Jaeger and Wamai, where she can, destroy projectiles in midair, and if you want to run through them, well, you're going to have to either burn or take a lot of damage. She also has a super fist, but to make her even better, she can also act as that castle, where it prevents the attackers from being able to rotate through a particular area. And I'm just excited to see how teams are going to be able to experiment with her. And we're also talking about Lord Tachanka entering the competitive pool. We saw him played a little bit yesterday, but the majority of the rounds that he was brought, he had little to no impact, and they were actually losing most of those rounds with Tachanka in play. So maybe the flamethrower wielder with a grenade launcher noob tube, his day has really not come yet.
Well, new season, new exciting features, and I'm looking forward to getting into them. I think SCS is one of the only leagues I cast that allows for Aruni, Tachanka, Chalet, the Gon 6. It's all very exciting, and Gunner is lucky to use that Aruni. We'll just pull back, though, and just play it safe and say, right, Felt, you're also still alive. We're winning our gunfight, so we need to stay alive at some point. We can't avoid risk. We can't risk anything. Junior will be able to open up that game's floor, and we'll be able to open up the game's wall, but like you said, the Aruni is there, and Gunner's going to be looking to cause some shenanigans. Has an Aruni gate, will take away one drone and just pulls back, because like you said, it's like a castle. You just can't cross through that without sacrificing some piece of utility. No plans, they've got to make a decision. Do they stick for this? They can't waste a drone because it's just been shot trying to cross through. Do they wait? Do they push? Do they try and rotate around? They have a lot of time. They can make this work. But Feldwinter's going to get droned out. Suddenly that rotating option isn't looking as good because they know they've got to do a roam clear as well. It's one of the key things, that vertical play that they struggled on their defensive side. Mystic was able to take advantage of that. Feldwinter in particular was able to. So leaving them alive on that bottom floor, you just can't allow it. Here's Donkey's rotate around, get the Claymore down at least, and we're going to start seeing some big window play.
I have to say, I absolutely love the nuance and kind of the meta game between those Selma charges and that single Aruni gate, because only one Aruni gate was used on the South Games wall. It was on the eastmost wall. The reason being is most teams are going to make their hard breach rotation on the east wall and a single head-level murder hole on the west panel. So you put one Aruni gate on the east, and that basically means you cannot enter through this unless you burn utility. Now, the utility has been burned, so no plans can push in through, but losing Gunner, that's an even better position for no plans to be in, and they're going to attack onto the board. Junior is a nutty man, and he finds 2 kills just flooding up those white snares. Siberian's going to start the plan. The diffuser will be shut down, though, as a Nitrocell will claim him, a 1v3, and Xeno in a dangerous position over in South Pit. He has to take his gunfights. It's a triple kill for him. Now Junior removed, but he still needs to win these ones. Being yeeted into oblivion by the air jab, and his life has now been lost. No plans will take dorms, and everybody seems to be winning these rounds on attack upstairs dorms.
Yeah, I just want to say that I absolutely love the new animation when you die and you see where it comes from. But very, very well played from No Plans, getting Junior to go around and take control of that huge problem area identified of those roamers. You took away Gunner, you took away Feldwinter, you got that White Stairs control by taking Whitlock off the board. Suddenly, like we saw, 2 versus foil. At that point, we're seeing No Plans. They're just gonna get the plant down. They have the opportunity to set up the crossfires, which Mystic did exactly to them. The tables have turned indeed, and now we're seeing this Kid's Dorm being very, very attacker-sided, which is why we might be seeing Mystic shifting down to the bottom floor. Same lineup is being brought out, but there might be a change. This Aruni has a lot of potential with the limited amount of doors that No Plans have available to them. That E-Box, it's one that you really have to... If you see that door next to Whitlock, essentially, I'll run you through my thinking. If you get an Aruni gate on there, the only real way to actually take it out is to take out the wall of E-Box, or to get Pillars control and swing. Realistically, you have to expose yourself to open that up and look at going for a plan. You also alert yourself to the defenders. You also expose yourself to that long position if you're not doing it properly. And then you've also got an ADS to build for your smoke cannon, for your smoke grenades to go through. We're seeing Mystic starting to use a little bit of that old 20-second meta, but it's something I was talking a lot about with my friends, Chief. If you commit too heavily to utility denial, that exposes it somewhere else because you're over-committing with utility.
So McCree, there's a certain stat line that I've been tracking, but now that stat is becoming even more perplexing. There was a time about the start of last month that I started to realize downstairs basement was becoming very attacker-sided. So out of the 24 showings that I took notes on, only 4 of them were won by attackers, which is mind-blowing to say the least. But now, in this series, it seems like maybe upstairs dorms is going to be that new showing. And by that, it is a small sample size, I will admit. But maybe this map is going to go temporarily attacker-sided? Probably not. But what's probably happening is it's starting to find an equal balance. We're at equilibrium, where maybe it's going to be 3-3 splits moving forward for attack and defense. And it could also be the fact that the attacking meta on a new map takes a very long time to really come into its own. The only exception to the rule was probably Kafe, because none of the strategies really changed. But if we look at Theme Park, there was a time where it was the most defender-sided map, and it started to even out, not quite at a 50-50, but I think at the last stage of NAL, it was about a 60%, which was in line with every other map.
Yeah, I think that's quite fun, though. I don't think there's really a problem there. Ubisoft, they want to balance a game, or maybe overbalance it one way or another. And I think that just keeps it fresh and interesting, and I very much like it. But what Cutter doesn't like is the frag grenade coming through. Felwinter will find that refrag very, very quickly to keep us at a 4 versus 4. Things are starting to ramp up. No plants are not wasting time. Junior's able to win that gunfight onto the stairs and starts to push down. Suddenly, the refrag from Rexavi will take place, and they can just pull back to that elbow. They just play safe. You have that 3 versus 3, but it's tit for tat completely. We're not really seeing one side dominating, and no plans. Every time they're getting map control, they're losing a player that they have to refrag. They're slowly making gains, but they have to sacrifice a lot to get there. Right now, though, we're going to see Blanky having to take control of Elbow and spotting an Aruna Gate that you don't have those frag grenades. You have a drone, but not in your pocket. You're going to have to tank that HP. You're going to have to struggle while GXD is going to be contesting the Aldo. Whitlock, though, is able to find 2. And suddenly, Blanky, that 100 HP is all you've got. You need to push through. The smoke is playing behind there, but Rexavi, well, they just say no. And Mystic will be picking up that bottom floor. It won't be an attacker-sided site.
Well, that was an interesting full sin that we saw from Team No Plans, particularly the J Bunker just sin. I love the recoil control that we saw there from Sledge, just holding mouse 1 perfectly, and if smoke peaked vertically, he would have died, but he swung to the right side of the shield, and the same problem that Team Mystic had on an attack, No Plans is going to find themselves in, doing a linear push where they only apply pressure from one avenue, which again, the north stairs, and they just try to take gunfights. It worked out for No Plants to start. I mean, Junior is a phenomenal Ashe player, so no surprise there. He's able to get those opening duels. But after that, you're kind of just bashing your head against reinforced walls. What are you going to do? We're going to have to push in through a fatal funnel. And we're talking about how good Alda players are, being the backbone of a defensive roster. And there we go again. And Alda just mag dumping all 82 bullets. And no surprise, he got a double kill.
Yeah, that's why you see a lot of teams just go for these double-tipped attacks, because one Alda can shut it all down. Is that something Oregon has is those choke points. Every single avenue onto site is a huge choke point for the attackers to go through. You have to be talented to win it out, and an Alda shooting at the right time, it just ends it all. Whitlock demonstrating that perfectly, and we will return to kids' dorms. I don't think we've seen a single... I think we've seen one round maybe by the defenders. You'll have to check your notes on that one, but it's been one where the attackers have been very, very comfortable. They've been able to just get this early control over towards the armory trophy statue. Not statue. I'm thinking Villa. I don't know. I'm tired. It's 1 AM over in the UK, but still. They are able to get the map control, above and below. They are able to open things up, find these early picks. The attackers, they perform both, whichever team has been on the attack.
So if I reference my notes, or my stat sheet we'll call it, we've seen dorms played 4 times, and every time being won by the attacking team. So Mystic has won it 3 times, and No Plants has won it once. So it's going to be shown for now the 5th time, and what is going to be the change? It's going to be on Mystic. They need to take the gunfight to no plant sooner. They need to shut down the drones, but with pretty much everybody from Team Mystic and their bomb sign, you're not going to be really capable of doing that unless Junior makes a misplay trying to vault up the stage, but Xeno isn't actively playing that. And Junior actually might have just evolved into a really aggressive flank watch. He's just going to be sitting underneath that hatch. He does have to be careful walking around on that floor. It's kind of this weird wooden floor, and it makes a lot of noise. Felt Winter is in a position to run out, and if he gets any audio cue that somebody's rappelling up, there is a Valkyrie camera in play. Lanky, be very careful of where you're walking, but it seems like No Plants wants to stay safe, and they're not going to be rappelling up. Uh-oh. As I say that, there's a play. There's the ping and the huge oversight and miss. Good night, Felt Winter. He felt that one for sure.
Yeah, the man just feeling the shockwaves in his mouse and keyboard at that point, but that is the opening kill, yet again going in favor of the attackers. Utility will go through the game's window to make sure there's not a top white player. Whitlock not really taking any damage whatsoever, but knowing that that pressure is there, the breach being open, suddenly Xeno is in that position again of being cut off. We're seeing, yet again, this attic position, it's just death for the defenders. Donkey, though, is going to be seeing just a little bit of that with the kill coming out from Gunner, who's very low but finds their 11th kill, and the first one in quite a while. But with 46 seconds ticking down on the clock, we're seeing Junior rotate around to get control of this white stairs. We're seeing Junior able to find a kill onto Gunner, and we're seeing a 4 versus 3. The attacker's in a great position, but Whitlock's going to negate that, finding one before falling themselves. 30 seconds, the push has to come out from No Plants right now, and Xeno is the key pillar that can stop it all right now. The plant is starting to go down, but Xeno has to overswing. Finds one, finds two. Oh, that's the plant, they're gone. Junior has to come up huge. Will be going for that plant, but runs into the smoke, and is about to run right into Rexavy. But neither of them. No 10 seconds. He goes behind. He finds one. He looks for Xeno, but he can't. And Mystic will be closing it out.
Well, our first victory on dorms for the defense, and in great fashion. However, was it the attackers playing poorly? Not necessarily. It seemed like both of these teams, again, just wanted to take the gunfights to each other, and a huge clutch at the end of the day is what saved Mystic that round. They had no business winning that, and just great showing of gun skill delivered them that victory. And, you know, again, I was critical of not going to the same bomb site back-to-back. To Team Mystic's credit, they wouldn't do that, but they staggered it between basement. And now we're going to have to see what the tertiary bomb site, meeting hall, and kitchen will bring. Now, No Plants was able to win it the only time that they brought it out back in round 5. So is it going to be a similar story now for Mystic? Well, their operating lineup is pretty much exactly what we'd expect. The Bandit is going to be a little bit different, but you can put those Bandits anywhere you want. You want to put them on the stage wall, the A-bomb site, that's an option for you, and that's most likely where they're going to be. But that means they're also going to have to put them on the North Annex side, because if the attackers just take that for free, you're not going to be able to hold any of A.
Yeah, the biggest thing for this bomb site, it's the same as maybe dining and mining on Kafe Dostoevsky. You need to have that vertical control. If you don't as a defender, the attackers can start ripping open the floor, or in this case, they can open up and get rid of the utility and do the push that I said Mystic needed to do when attacking this very site, where you take control of that wall, you start getting a plant down, you cover some angles. It's very elementary on how you're going to win out that round. But No Plants, they've got to clear out this game's hold, because that's where that's where the meat of their defense is going to be. They're going to be holding these angles. They've been incredible at winning their gunfights so far, and Gunner's going to be able to find the information. They're definitely expecting that big tower push. Going into the small tower and dining, that might not really catch them off guard. Gunner's got a lot of sightlines that can be used. We is going to get another Van camera down. Realistically, Mystic, they're feeling prepared for whatever No Plants have to throw at them, and I think I have to favor them taking this to match point as it stands. But the early entry coming out from No Plants, they're very aware of a lot of potential flanks, a lot of potential problems that can arise during this push.
With Banky's pressure on those north stairs, just looking down by the basement, it seems like they're suspicious that there might be offsite pressure trying to flank up those stairwells. Now, currently, that's not the case, and what No Plants needs to do is relegate one of their flank drones just downstairs into that stairwell, and with the new overlay, we can actually see that there are currently 7 drones on the field and none in their back pocket. So either those drones are to grab extra information, or they're in flank watch position. The drone that helped Junior walk into the bomb site did not grab any information. He's lost his life as a result. That was a very aggressive play by No Plants and Junior in Predictable. The double deeg swings and wins. Junior on a 3K now, fishing for more. He won't find anything, but Rexaby will refrag that. Now a 1v4 on the tertiary bomb site. GXD, your primary flank watch, in a dangerous position.
Gunner, that was very, very cheeky, but from this overlay you can see 2 of those air jabs have gone down. The flank pretty secure, especially with that Claymore still on the board. But seeing those flashbangs take it down to 1, will be flashing themselves, but burning ADS. There has to be a push coming through. The Maestro camera's there, the swing comes out, and Mystic be over onto match point. A lot of what they did there was down to just catching No Plants off guard. They expected just the one-dimensional push. They expected swamp control to go. As soon as that castle barricade's gone, you've got Gunner on the swamp ramp, you've got Feltwinter kitchen door, and well, it's just a case of, well, 1.1 dies, you could get another peek. We're going back to bottom floor, Chief. This is not a great position for No Plants now. This is the site where we saw Whitlock just pick them apart for the same issue. We saw No Plants going for that one-dimensional push down those tower stairs. Suddenly Blanky trying to go on the rotate is just going to get taken down.
What's concerning so far about this series for No Plants, now this is not their map pick, Kafe is, but Team Mystic sitting in first place, No Plants sitting at second place in their division, third and fourth place will be playing tomorrow, which means No Plants, they need to have as many points today as possible, because Aerial Rise is currently sitting at 7 points, and the former Wichita Wolves, No Smokes now that they're referring to themselves as, are sitting at 6 points. So if No Plants fumbles on the day and makes a big mistake not getting any points, it is going to be rough for them. Here for No Plants, their sole objective on Oregon is just to win the next 2 rounds, taking them to overtime, and at least that way they have guaranteed themselves 1 point for the first map. Because when No Plants transitions over to Kafe, it is imperative that they get all 3 of those points. Because again, you have some incredible teams in Group A, and the moment you stumble and give them any extra wiggle room, you might find yourselves lurking closer down to that 5th and 6th seed spot.
I'm actually on the edge of my seat right now, Chief. I'm very excited to see if No Plants can push this to another round. Well, then we have a real chance of going back to that Kids, which has been very attacker-sided, and No Plants, they've been able to win it themselves. There's a real possibility for overtime, but this is a must-win round. You need to patch those mistakes. And right now, we're going to see Feltwinter looking to take advantage of some, playing in that Harry Potter, waiting to not get droned out, I should correct myself. Donkey, though, is playing on this position, making sure nobody pushes up while they get that meeting control. Junior has control of split, then Zed is looking, waiting for any push that comes out, and the air jab is going to make life a little bit easier for them. Now this hatch is going to get opened. Now the information game is going to come through, and No Plants have to make that all-important decision. How do they want to push? Do they want to ignore this elbow? Do they want to go for Freezer Laundry? Or do they push in from those tower stairs? Do they drop E-Box? Do they expose themselves to all the utility that Mystic have to offer? And Gunner is going to look for that impact trick, is going to look for the pre-fire onto tower stairs, just to distract them from Feltwinter. The longer Feltwinter stays alive, that's the better, but the red ping comes out, will spot them away. Half the round ticking down, Chief. We are going and getting closer and closer to what could be the end game of Oregon.
So one thing that Team Mystic did on attack was they would basically open up the entire top floor. This would give them rotations to basically push from anywhere they want. No Plants won't do that. Instead, Donkey's just going to walk into the pillar, fry 2 members of Mystic, and maybe basement. This is now No Plants' opportunity. They still need to deal with Jay Bunker, though, and it's going to be a full utility dump down range. They're pushing better and better. Now a 3v2, though, as Gunner pops off again. He has been lights out so far in this series, currently sitting at a 16 bomb, attempting to find the 17, but he will be unable to do so. Once again, Zeno in another clutch position. The diffuser was surrendered, but now picked back up, and it's going to be soon planted over by the bomb site. And there's a challenge. Zeno's position given away. A nitrocell ripped. It's sent. It doesn't connect, though. Guaranteed post plant, and it's going to be do or die for our lone defender.
Yes, taking quite a bit of damage. It's looking worse and worse, but the red pings are coming through, giving the information. Able to find Blanky, that's 1 kill, but you need to find 2 more. And you need to be on that diffuser within 7 seconds, or you're going back to kids' dorms, or meeting, and Donkey's just gonna shut things down. No plans will be able to keep in it. They've fixed the mistakes and been able to win out a site they haven't been able to before by doing the exact same thing they did before, realistically, but a bit more emphasis on towards that elbow position. They took the tower, they took the hatch, they got as much information, and to their credit, Donkey, finding those 2 free kills on the players that just weren't looking. Feldwinter and Whitlock, the Alder and the 416, 2 players who have just made their life hell on the last time they attacked this, well, they just got ripped out. Suddenly, Mystic, they're in a horrible position. No plans and say, right, we've got control, we've got player advantage, this is our round to lose, and well, they just didn't want to. They will keep us through, and they have the opportunity to attack at this site again, push us through to overtime, Chief.
So this is an interesting position to be in, because Team Mystic, they have won dorms once, and they've lost dorms once. Downstairs and basement, it's the same storyline. They've won it once, and they've lost it once. And just judging by how this map has gone, dorms just seems to be so unwinnable that you have to go back downstairs to the basement. For the longest time, Mystic was showing that dorms was going to be their bomb site, but the last second, they make that sensible switch. Because again, dorms was won off a clutch, and that's just a strategy that you can't rely on. However, here, Mystic, they've been able to take gunfights. They've been able to waste time the last time that we saw them in basement. So I'm glad that they're going to be bringing this bomb site back. This is the exception to the rule. We are allowed to go to a bomb site twice. Now, you, in theory, could try to bring out dining room. But again, with Hibana in play, you're not going to be able to successfully impact trick. Mystic has attempted impact tricking. They have 2 sets currently available to them. So that means basement's really your only go.
I'm going to be honest, when I look at this, I say, yeah, you could go for kitchen dining, but there's a big issue relying that. That's the fact that you got taken down in Swamp, and that's just not going to happen. Gunner, though, is going to find Junior entering in. Suddenly, we talked about No Plants getting the advantage and riding off it. Mystic, they get the kill. They're just bunkering down. They do not want to give up anything for a free kill. They're just going to pull back and say, you know what? I'm happy with what I've just done.
That's heartbreaking for No Plants, and that was just a droning error. And I can hear Junior screaming, why was he there? What a weirdo. Who would sit in that corner? That's on No Plants, though. Again, if you ever utter that phrase or those sentences, that means you as an attacker made a mistake. Because there's never a scenario where Gunner gets that kill unless you make a mistake. And that's that option there. Gunner is an incredibly intelligent player, and he will win his gunfights if you put himself in that position. He puts himself in the position, and he wins. No surprise, and now No Plants. They're going to be forced to fight this round, which is starting to look like the final round of map 1 with that man disadvantage. Junior has been a little bit more quiet on that primary entry role than he normally is, and he's going to have to think and ponder his decisions as he moves into map 2, and he's also going to have to pray and hope that he can guide his teammates on flank drone successfully to this victory.
Well, it's very easy to be quiet when you're dead, and Donkey's gonna be joining Junior at the moment, gonna be able to find a second kill. Feldwinter will go down to GXD and will be finished off. However, it feels like No Plants are clutching at straws. They're getting kills from Blue and from Tower Stairs with a minute left on the clock. This is not the position to be in. You need more map control. You need more aggression. You can't just be trying to get these impactless kills when the rest of the team are just defending and holding their ground. GXD will take some damage. Siberian wants to open up the sightlines. But right now, those meat jammers, they're going to make life hell. If you want to get rid of it, you need to make a very, very strong push. And at that point, you might as well just go for the kills. Speaking of kills, Gunner through the pixels, gonna find a third. Well, it's looking very, very comfortable. Siberian pushes on forward, looks for killing Whitlock, but Whitlock's there to take him out. GXD will be finished off by Whitlock, and Chief, Oregon draws to a close with a very, very strong performance from both teams, actually.
Yeah, at the end, No Plants, they were the ones that made more mistakes. They tripped up a bit, and they ended up losing. But things happen. And now No Plants, they do have a bright side to this series. It's the fact that they now have access to their own map pick, Kafe. Returning back to GXD as well as Junior. Legacy players, they've been playing together, they've been playing for so long. Kafe is a bread and butter map for them. They're going to be very comfortable. And I have to highlight Siberian. He is a great addition to this roster. Making his debut, he is phenomenal. I'm happy to see new players to rosters start to really show, well, their worth. And, you know, the same thing can be said for Aggro. Splash making his debut this week. He has been a phenomenal asset, and honestly, the young talent that is just coming through the scene is just so good.
Yeah, and SCS really is the place for as we do return to the cameras, but I want to talk a little bit about this substitution, this new addition, Siberian, coming in, really just being a driving force for the team, and just saying, when things are looking down, Siberian was 9 times out of 10 able to just pick up the pieces just that little bit, and just give the team that little bit of energy that they needed to push forward and to try and get that round win. Very strong performance from No Plans, definitely the rest of the group should be looking at that and saying, that's the second best team in the group so far. Well, they're going to be good even when we come up against them, even if they're not Team Mystic at the moment. It's Siberian. That's a player to watch out for. A lot of teams, when you'll be looking at VOD review, you look for weaknesses and No Plans. I don't think they gave away as much as you'd think when we head into this game. And when you look at this scoreline itself, Team Mystic, they perform very well, but No Plans pushed them quite far, actually.
Yeah, again, if I were to nitpick one particular area, it's the entry drones. You just can't die to gunners sitting close quarters on that door frame. I mean, that's, again, just unacceptable. Like, that's on your drone economy. That's on your primary droner to identify that. Again, it's not a common position, but you, as that droner, have to do your due diligence, because on that 1% chance, you know, there's some dude lurking in a corner, you gotta find him, because he's gonna just shoot you like that. Again, nitpicking, but a 7-5 against Team Mystic, that's a good deal. You are highlighting that, and, you know, our map summary, our statistics, and our analysts always work such a great job on really kind of show that storyline. We're talking about we need to watch what the entries are capable of, and I highlighted Junior and I highlighted Felt Winter, who had an incredible entries throughout this season. Well, their entries in map 1 were not quite incredible.
No, but I think it's the rest of the team that you really got to step up to and say, that's it. That's the winning factor for me. They were just another piece in the puzzle. Gunner and Donkey, just incredible games coming out from them, especially Siberian, though. That's someone you just can't say. Because I'm looking at Siberian coming into a roster, and 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking of all the bad things. I'm thinking about, okay, well, you've got a team, they have that cohesion. Like you said, 2 legacy players in Donkey Jr. Siberian coming through maybe doesn't have the same... doesn't fit in like a puzzle piece, but, well, it's proven that, so we'll be able to perform very, very impressively. Moving forward, though, No Plans. You took Oregon very, very close, but Team Mystic were just able to pip it out. Now you're going to your map. Now you have the real opportunity to start bringing things back and maybe take a map off of the undefeated players in your group so far.
You know, I want to highlight GXD because he went even on his roster. Donkey would also do that, but he's not a player that should be getting into gunfights. He's at flank watch. The only time he ever shoots is if there's somebody flanking. But far too often did GXD have to kind of evolve into a secondary entry role where he realizes, oh no, my teammates are dead. I need to win my gunfights. And that just shows how adaptable he is as a player. He can fill any role you need, and he can make that quick evolution from sitting on cameras, swiping through all those flank drones, or just holding that tight angle. Again, No Plants, they're a great roster. Obviously, taking Mystic 7-5 is an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, now, we are going to be taking a short break before we do head over to Kafe. So, Chief, we're going to have a nice little breather. We can rest our voices. We can have a little toilet break. But, most importantly, we're going to be back here at the end of the break. You need to be here as well. If Game 1 was good, Game 2 is only going to be incredible. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome back to SCS Season 5. I was unfortunately muted, but we are halfway through our group stages at the moment in week 3, and I am very excited. We have no plans going up against Team Mystic, and Chief, map 1 was great. Remind us of how that went.
A 7-5 victory for Team Mystic. It was off just, I guess, misplays from no plans. A couple of small stumbles, a few mistakes here and there, and unfortunately, they would find themselves losers of map 1. But moving forward, it's now going to be on Kafe. And, you know, Mystic, they had a dominant force. They definitely showed that they have a great understanding of what happens on Oregon. But are they going to have that same level of mastery and understanding as we move over to Kafe? Kafe is a legacy map. Both these rosters should be very comfortable with that. But let's actually talk about our game since our players are finally ready.
Yes, so looking at this right now, we saw Team Mystic, they were going pretty much tit for tat with no plans in Oregon. Now, typically that would put you in a really good position moving onto your map, and I think the bans, they're going to reflect how Mystic at least want to start this off, because Mystic, they've got to know that they're going into what isn't their map, and on their map, well, they got taken dangerously close to overtime, which is not a good place to be. The first ban to start us off will be that Maverick, though, which does not surprise me at all. But what does interest me, however, is the fact that No Plans have an opportunity, a huge decision. Do they keep Thatcher on the board?
There's no way Thatcher makes it through the ban phase. There he is. No surprise there. Thatcher is public enemy number one. He's on the FBI most wanted list every single time. There's $1 million bounty, and he just doesn't get to play Rainbow Six Siege at a competitive level. No surprise there. I mean, let's look at Kafe. You want to have all of your utility available. What Thatcher can do, let's say you're sitting in Pixel. You have ADSs, you have My Pancakes, and all of a sudden, a Thatcher sits on the roof, he drops an EMP, all of your ADSs, all your My Pancakes have suddenly turned off. There is an explosive charge flying at you, and you as a defender instantaneously die. No surprise, but also, talking about that same style of play, Wamai will find himself removed as well.
Yeah, no, I think we might see Capital being used. It was definitely towards the end of the 22nd meta. It was definitely a key operator to bring. You get the Wamai ban, as long as they haven't bought that they have banned Capital. You bring that Capital, you flame out that Pixel player. It's a very simple solution to a very complex issue that we saw. However, now Thatcher would just take away that completely off the board. But now we're seeing, okay, Wamai's being taken away. You might want to bring that Capital, but that's not the case from No Plans. They're bringing a very typical lineup, ready to deal with it, with whichever site realistically they find themselves going to. You have that vertical capability, you have the flank watch, hard breach, and that soft destruction. There's a lot of versatility in this lineup coming out from No Plans, and I don't think that's a mistake at all.
Now, what is interesting to point out is we've seen a lot of defending rosters decide that we're going to start downstairs in the basement because holding the top floor isn't what it used to be. We're talking about ADSs, shields, and pixels, but the true utility consumption simulator, it doesn't exist anymore. And that forces the defenders in ways, how am I going to hold the west side of the map? How am I going to turn Piano into no man's land? And you could put, deployable shields and bar back storage. You can put them deep back over by pallets, but you're just not going to be as successful as you once was. This allowed a lot of attackers to pretty much get control of the west side in the first 90 seconds of the round, and after that, they just take gunfights and are able to win it. The way I like to see defending rosters elect to play Piano is from underneath, and it's bring out maybe a pulse, maybe bring out a set of nitro cells and just send them sky high. Gunner is going to do what he does best, try to go for a spawn peek. There are members of No Plans out there. He just is unable to line them up, and he's going to be forced to return back to his cubby.
Yeah, now there's one thing I really want to talk about, and that is that C4 potential, like you said. Back on Tuesday, I was casting a game in EU between The Last Resort and Rocket Gaming, and what happened was you saw a huge amount of C4 kills. I think about overall tallied on Kafe on one team, it was about 15 kills. That is a lot that you cannot shake a stick at. Whether Mystic want to commit fully over to this, well, that's up to them, but Donkey is going to take quite a bit of damage. I believe that is going to be... I'm not exactly sure what did that. It might be a Maestro camera. Pixel? Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But the main name of the game for this top floor, and Kafe in general, is you bog down the attackers. 22nd meta, that's why this was one of the favored maps. It's very, very easy to do that. But now it's not. The attackers, they have a lot more opportunity. As long as Feltwinter isn't peeking it, that's going to be Junior taken off the board. The battle of the entries and the information from Gunner's just going to take the surprise out of it for the Pixel player. They're going to be able to find this gunfights. Donkey is going to be forced onto the entry roll with low HP. And Gunner's got vertical. Has impact and could get a kill, but Whitlock's there with a C4. Ready. Not using it yet, but ready to use it. That's the biggest thing.
There's a camera up on that lampshade. Man, that is the default position. That has been in the game since day one. How has it not been shot out? And I guess more importantly, how did that nitrocell not collect with anything? You had free information. At least Donkey's going to find himself on that refrag. Xeno's going to fall. And we've been highlighting how good Maestro players are. Well, they're going to have to be very good at just red pinging into oblivion as we find ourselves sub 60 seconds. Now, with Junior falling earlier, there's going to be a lot of that fixed utility, that hard utility that you're not going to be able to break down since you have no more impact grenades in the back pocket of the Zofia. So if you want to push down White, which is pretty much never a good idea, you're going to have to be alerted by one of those Malusi wub-wubs.
Yeah, and in doing that, you either use self-destruction or, like you said, you give it away. Right now, Gunner isn't even going to need it. He's going to be able to find Siberian, taking away one of the star players of No Plants in Oregon. Gunner will be able to find another one, and realistically is just seeming unstoppable after Oregon. But that's going to be the trades coming through. A 1 versus 3 we find ourselves in, as Donkey will fall with GXD, and, well, Gunner's just there to clean things up. Finding Blanky, finding Mystic the first round on that top floor of Kafe, and I think this is a very strong showing coming out from Mystic, saying, yeah, we're prepared to play Kafe. It's a very simple map. If we weren't going to pick Oregon, well, we might as well have picked Kafe. You need to really step up and show what you're made of right now.
And what was concerning to me about No Plants was their haphazard just execute. Again, we're talking about how Ashes, they can't just be all about clicking foreheads. They have to participate in utility clear. And Junior, to his credit, did that. He removed one of the deployable shields. But when you have your entry now tasked with burning utility, who is going to be the player that has to hold that angle? Well, it's going to be on Donkey. But since he lost so much HP in that firefight, he actually got off that rappel, which means Junior is at a 1v0 if you want to look at it that direction, because he isn't gun up. He just ends up sprinting, challenging with his Ash charge, and dying. You need to have cross cover. And I love talking about IGLs because it really creates the next level of nuance, but when you find yourself with a puzzle in front of you, you have to think about how all those puzzle pieces together, because just destroying the shield won't complete that puzzle. It's on the drone information to identify where that player is, what escape routes he'll have, and most importantly, and what lost No Plants that initial duel, was who is going to be covering in the event the defenders get aggressive.
Now, Gunner, speaking of getting aggressive, actually, is going to look for a spawn peek and is able to find the head of Siberian, who has had very realistically little impact in the round and the previous one so far. This top floor hold is going to cause a lot of issues for No Plants, especially without that heart breach. They don't have any more on the board to use. They need to try and use anything they can. The soft destruction's the name of the game now. That hatch in Piano is actually soft. You can go through that for the roam clear, but Gunner currently is just sat in this little cigar area. One yellow ping, one call could end the Mozzie's reign of terror that we've seen started on Oregon. But it's not going to happen, Chief. Junior's just going to play this position. The pre-fire will come through, and they still haven't dealt with Gunner. This is not going to end well for No Plants at all. But Mystic, they know something's up. They know Feltwinter's nearby. All they need now is to commit to Feltwinter. That's when Gunner's going to strike it. That's when everything's going to go wrong. And this is about to happen. Gunner goes for the swing, doesn't find a kill. Oh, no. It's just Junior's going to run away. It's going to be ringing around the rosy, and Gunner will find a kill, but will get fragged down, being pushed into that very, very awkward position. Feltwinter, now losing that gunfight, is going to say, right, now we cut our losses, now we pull back.
Yeah, that was just unacceptable by No Plants. That is, again, one of these basic default angles. How often do you see, some dude sitting in that corner of Humidor by himself in ranked? Pretty much every time you play Kafe. Why aren't you droning that? Again, No Plants. They're kind of going through, well, their rhythms. They know, well, we need a drone at the top floor. We need a drone at the second floor. We want our vertical play, but they're really not committing to it. And as a result, Junior has been on the bad end of that. Sure, it's on him to check Humidor, but it's also on his primary droner to probably check it first. You have to dot your I's and cross your T's, and right now, there's a lot of grammar errors being made because I's look like L's.
I really like that analogy. You just took it one step further that I really like. But yeah, I gotta agree with you 100% when you bring up that problem. You're seeing that drone coming through right now, and Zeno, who's going to start playing aggressive, and is going to be looking for this gunfight. Won't be able to win it, though. That's going to be on Donkey to start opening up things and even us out. But I think we're seeing No Plants as Donkey gets taken off the board. They have a set way in how the round is going to play out in their mind. That's fine. But when you commit to it to the point where you ignore what's in front of you, and what isn't being droned, the push is going to start coming through, though.
Well, there's so little time left on the plan. It's going to be all no plans to fly into this bomb site, take their gunfights. The 2 remaining members are super lit. They're going to have to push through toxic beams, but Felt Winter is down but not out. The diffuser being planted. Where is the cross cover? It's not going to be there. And the SMG-11 Arexav will finish off Blanky. That was an oversight, to say the least, by No Plans, but an incredible showing for them to actually get closer into the bomb site and actually attempt to put the bomb down. Gunner has been the bane of No Plans. The way he's played in this map, he has owned it. He wrote a blank check, and he has cashed it in. He spawn peeks every round, he sits in route spots, and he just takes gunfights and wins it. The man is a monster.
Yeah, this is simply the case of you have given too much ground. You have given this player the opportunity to really step up and really start to shine. And, well, granted you can afford a few rounds, Gunner has been hot for way too long for it to not be an issue for No Plans right now. Like you said, getting aggressive, playing these gunfights like just you're actually telling them where to go. You're just they're just playing the part and essentially making them your puppet. And right now, Gunner have the game of their life, realistically. A huge showing, especially in midway through these group stages, keeping Mystic undefeated so far. If you can keep that going, well, that's just a great position to be in. Reading Dining, though, this is going to be the opportunity for No Plans to break that momentum, start getting rounds to the board, start finding the opening kills at least. That's a good place to start, if you can do that. This is the real opportunity to do it. If you can get this top floor or go below and catch them off guard, you can really start to put the pressure on. You find an opening kill, you take control of those white stairs and that reading area. That's when you start getting the plant down. That's when Mystic start to have to scramble to get back to site and fix it all.
Well, that is quite a unique Frost mat. The reason behind it is to, well, catch off one of the attackers. They actually tend to either vault over that L bar upstairs to get a better position onto a player sitting in Pixel, but also you might just kind of crouch walk back as you're being pressured. Gunner is going to do what he does best. He spawn peeks, and at this point, I'm just not surprised by anything. GXD, on the other hand, he should know better than that. He should not have lost his life. Junior's already in the museum entrance. He's going to try to take map control quickly, but he'll just be wrapped up into a nice body bag far too quickly. No Plans. For the team that picked Kafe, this attack that they're currently bringing out doesn't show that by any means. Donkey is getting wall-banged into oblivion. Felt Winter just needs to hold mouse 1 and continue to send bullets out range. But at least the Terror himself is off and dead.
Yeah, well, that's all well and good, but right now, Mystic know exactly how you want to play the game, and they're adapting right to it. It's simple. You've got Gunner. Yeah, he's playing 7D chess while you're playing checkers, but you've got the rest of the team whispering sweet little nothings into his ear. They're moving around. They're saying, okay, when you die, Gunner, because where you're playing in Train, you're going to die. It's a necessity for the attackers. Eventually, they will find that kill. This is what's going to happen when you do die. We're going to have Whitlock and Pixel maintaining that top floor control with Rexavy. We're going to have Xeno and Felt down below, picking up kills, keeping the crossfires alive. And right now we're in a 4 versus 3, a very strong position. When No Plans, they're struggling to get inside the building. Whitlock will take some damage. Not enough to kill. But that's not all you need. They know that you're playing there. They know they need to flush you out. Now you just play it safe. The frag grenade will potentially threaten that, but Whitlock just walks back.
No Plans need to determine exactly what they want from this game in these rounds. They need to say, we're going to go for a plant or we're going to go for a roam clear. They decide to go for haphazard both. And as a result, more players and No Plans are going to start to lose their lives by rotating backstairs over by 90, trying to hold across cover. But they're going to have to find themselves in a position to plant. And all of these murder holes put through all these walls, it's going to be impossible. But somehow, Banky's able to actually win that engagement, but it's still a dangerous position to be in. Siberian's going to work his way deeper into the bomb site, and it's starting to pan out very similar to round 2. But with so little time left, it's going to come down to firefights and engagements, and SMG-11 will say, no, 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 not today. Siberian on an incredible flick, but again, it might all be in vain. Wow, to say the least. He's just isolated, trying to plant, maybe draw out a member of Mystic to challenge him, but it's going to be pretty much all over at this point and confirmed by Rexavy.
Well, Mystic, they are looking very, very strong right now, and in no part to the work of Gunner and the support of the team around them, because, like I was saying, Gunner is playing in that train area. Granted, yeah, they don't have top floor control, but Gunner's gonna die. He's just trying to pad the stats before that happens, and, well, been doing a great job. You can't fault them at all. The biggest thing that I want to talk about is the fact that you're having the players of Mystic being able to maneuver around and position themselves to deal with no plants once they take control of that and try to take advantage of it. As soon as Gunner's dead, Feldwins is over in pillars, putting pressure on, has the angles, and Donkey, yeah, you've killed one, but it's like the Hydra, you've just got another taking up another place that just makes life even harder. And you can't commit the same amount of players, the same amount of utility because it's already spent. And now we're going back to the top floor. Mystic, they really struggle to lose this top floor, as they have with most of the bomb sites at this point. It's come down very close a couple of times, but it's never felt in favor of no plants. Mystic have always felt in control, and I think the information game, that's definitely part of it. We can see right now, a ton of information, especially on that default plant and that car area if possible, and the audio information alongside it. No plants, unless they have a drone watch that being placed down, they're not getting that camera.
So, going back to reading room for a quick second, there was an opening that no plant saw, and to their credit, the IGL identified. It was the fact that Mystic was all upstairs, and they had the opportunity of going for a swift execute. And, you know, Helldoor is one of my favorite rushes of all time, because you could just flood into the bomb site pretty much instantly. Now, no plants, they went for a swift execute, not necessarily a rush, but just a take of the West. And I was trying to remember, where was the last time I saw this happen? And because I know no plants is capable of doing that, because I've seen Junior have that play. But it goes back all the way over to SEL Season 2, I believe, back when I was still playing. And I remember Junior kicking my teeth in doing that strategy. But the thing is, when you're going against, you know, Chief, who's an absolute bot, that play can work, because you can take these gunfights and win. But when you're going against Whitlock, Gunner, and a challengerly capable roster, Junior can't just send it in through a hallway, because he's going to be obliterated by a multi-angle crossfire, whether or not he's being wallbanged, whether or not he's being cammed out. He just can't play that just full send, loosey-goosey style of play. It's just going to become a liability, and Junior is a brilliant entry. He's proven that in the fact, but sitting at 4-0, it's kind of unacceptable for him.
Yeah, and, well, that's just not a good place for no plants. They're currently set to go 4-0 if you look at the players on the board alone. And right now, you can safely say Gunner's feeling it, Whitlock's feeling it, they're all feeling it, and it shows, especially in their text chat, just criticizing them every time something happens. It's like, you should know better. You should know we're going to spawn peek. You're playing against Mystic. You're playing against the top team in Group A at the moment, and we are set to stay there. We've already got the Oregon points, but we want Kafe. We're not going to give you any freebies. Now, this information is still coming through. This camera hasn't been spotted, Chief, and it's been there for so long, like you said. Whitlock is below with a C4. And Gunners is going to go off but not do the damage, but you still have that one for that plant denial, you still have the player in freezer, you still have all of that long bar control. No plants, they haven't really got anything for the loss of Junior and for the time that they've used. That's just not acceptable. You've got a player in bathroom, but you need to push through, and you've got to push through into a number of sightlines that just are not going to favor you.
You know, I would challenge a community to find a camera that is older than any of those light post cameras, because they are so basic, they are so old, they've been around since Kafe has been around, and yet, how are we not looking there, no plants? Gunner, how? How does he do this? You know, I would just want to change the ban phase altogether. Can I just ban him? Can I just ban Gunner from this lobby? GXD is going to at least shut down Whitlock, so it's a step in the right direction, but you have 20 seconds left on the clock, which means the 11th man hits the lobby. That's going to be Father Time. GXD is a phenomenal flank watch, and he's going to find himself another kill. We're actually going to be now in a post plan that no plants is capable of winning. It's now a 3v1, and Gunner's going to have to go for the clutch ace, taking a lot of damage, forced to go to the pistol, but he will not be successful. GXD, the monster, evolves into a Gunner.
3 rounds uncontested. The 4th one, you pick it up, but that's a full site rotate. You've had a chance to look at the strats. This is where no plants. If you pick up 2 more rounds, I'm going to be very, very pleased with no plants, because that's an opportunity to break Mystic at the moment. That's an opportunity to just say, okay, we see what you're doing. but we're gonna change it up. We're gonna shut down Gunner. We're gonna say, right, you're gonna spawn peek. We're not going to give it to you. However, Gunner is seemingly unstoppable at this point, Chief. Like, is there one thing that you can point out and say, that's where you take out Gunner? No, because realistically, the way that No Plans are playing, they're not in the right positions. You needed a player Heaven to catch him on the drop, but, well, Gunner just mercilessly executed the player trying to take that gunfight. Nobody's there to try and take it up instead. Huge opportunity from Gunner to really clutch it out, but there was just not enough players alive. No Plans, they're going to have to do it again, though.
You know what? There's a nice parallel to make. Gunner didn't spawn peek in round 4. No Plants won in round 4. So, my guess, if Gunner isn't challenging every single possible window and doing, you know, crazy plays, maybe it's an opportunity for No Plans to actually be able to execute. I mean, it makes sense. You're executing on a bomb site with your entire roster instead of one of them who's sad-faced dead outside, not even entering in the map. Now, sure, you can make the argument, oh, he's on flank watch, our flanks are going to be a little bit more secure, and you're not going to be wrong on that. Far too often on Kafe do we see teams just get flanked from behind because they don't put any drones on the stairwell, so maybe not all hope is lost. And I also, we've been kind of joking about this camera, but Mystic, bringing it out again. Please, No Plans. Like, do you not realize that, like, that camera's been around since day one? Like, can you check it, like, once, please? Please make me happy.
They are so ready to use these C4s, so ready to catch them off guard. Gunner, after that first round, started bringing the C4s, probably because it had the impacts on accident. Well, right now, you have a huge opportunity. You just have Feltwin to get a kill pull back. You put a player onto those Valcams. Gunner didn't spawn peek, but that opening kill still went in favor of the attackers. This time, Donkey will fall rather than Junior. However, Junior still yet to find a kill. Siberian will repel in. But the information, it's still just going to be coming through thick and fast for Team Mystic. They know that the yellow pings, they're going to be huge. They know what's being dealt with. They know where the attackers are. And most importantly, Feltwinter knows exactly where to aim. Siberian and the Diffuser will go down on the stage and make a really, really difficult retake attempt for No Plans on the cards. Looks like we are going to see GXD go for it, but they know as soon as you get that up, Feltwinter's going to find another kill and it's going to be looking for you. But Blanky finds the first refrag and takes out Gunner no less.
Well, are we going to see Feltwinter going for the ace? He's actually been silent this round. He's sitting at 2 and 4 on the scoreboard, now sitting at 5 and 4. Now, Banky is going to open up this angle so he can look directly into barback storage. He can challenge any players. A Mystic that's electing to go for that rotation. Nobody's home right now, and instead he's going to pop the pin on a frag grenade and start to break down some of that on-site utility. But a dangerous position for No Plans to be in. They have 30% of their drone economy still alive and active that they can bring out. However, since they're solid white dots, and we can see through the overlay, that means that they're already on a flank watch. GXD, his hot hand is going to continue to heat up, finding a kill, and he's trying to save his team, and he will do that, making it now a tie, a 2v2, equal man count. Both these rosters are the exact same HP, but with no throwable utility for No Plants, it's going to be a very difficult endeavor, and when you're going against 3 toxic flames as well as a nitro cell, it's going to be impossible. GXD loses life on the plant to a swing, and now what is Banky going to be capable of? He has to take these gunfights. He's stuck in a Malusi wub, and that's going to be all that information that Mystic needs. Choked out by the Toxic Bay, is forced to go to the SMG-11. Banky's on so little HP, and all HP will now be lost as Whitlock takes the gunfight.
I feel like we're watching seal clubbing at this point. I hate to be very, very critical of No Plans, but this is not the team that we saw in Oregon. This is a team that are giving themselves freely into Mystic. They are just saying, okay, have a kill. They're giving up early gunfights. They're giving up a lot, and they're not making any gains from it. They're losing players. They're not getting map control. Their entry is trying to do work, but Donkey's trying to step up, and GXD is actually the one really doing a lot of the legwork. I'm looking at this, I'm saying, right, Mystic, you're really performing. You need to keep up doing what you need to keep doing what you're doing. You need to say, now we go to bottom floor. Well, now we go to reading dining, actually. We have that top floor hold, but we have Gunner down below just in case in mining. We have these players prepared. We have everyone ready just to deal with whatever No Plans have to throw at us. Chief, it feels unfair, I feel incredibly critical, I feel bad for being incredibly critical, but there's no other way to approach it. Mystic, they have too much momentum.
Yeah, again, no plants. The same storyline that we saw earlier in Oregon. They just are making mistakes. And it's silly mistakes, simple mistakes that they're incredibly smart players. They should know better, but they're just still stuck in their ways. They're not really identifying how Mystic is playing. They haven't even really found a puzzle. And I guess that's probably one of the easiest things to do in Rainbow Six Siege. It is the ability to open up the box of puzzles, bring out the puzzle pieces, and start to piece them together. However, no plants. Every single time they try to find a puzzle, they grab the wrong one. And that's just something that they need to address.
Yeah. Now, Junior will be opening up and will be looking to push forward. However, not wanting to push in right away. Gunner does have that information and will be playing in that train yet again. Now, if he isn't droned out, well, we're just going to see Gunner start to pop off again, but the information should be coming through. The floor holes of Junior mean he has to push in very, very aggressively. Will ignore the train, will be able to find Gunner, will put themselves on the board now. A huge position now that Junior is actually awake and has now got a kill on the board. Most importantly, Mystic didn't know he was coming. Now Feltwinter does, but can't land the shots. The end mining control, that's no plans. But they need to take that top floor. If they try and execute right now, they're going to be just exposed to a flurry of vertical play with shotguns, SMGs, and time. Most importantly, Zeno down below is probably going to actually make some vertical from below. I'm looking forward to seeing this, as no plans will be shaping up and getting rid of that dining wall.
Uh-oh, I see a yellow ping. That means a nitrocell at the same old camera placement. Now, they know that one of the players is stuck in the trend, so the nitrocell won't be lethal there. Feltwinter sitting over by B2, just hanging out and having a grand old day. And the fact that no plans, A, didn't drone that, and B, didn't expect him to be up there is absolutely mind-boggling. That is one of the most common positions. And actually, when you're an attacker, you just always look up there in the hopes that you can a defender off guard. Junior is now going to be caught off guard. And the swift executes that no plants started to bring out has been lost. But they do have control of the bomb site. Well, it was temporarily. Now it's a 1v4. No plants and GXD, who's been incredibly good this series, but all of his kills have kind of been impactless. He has this information. He has a swing, but he loses his life. Feltwinter on the kill. Mystic a 7-1/2 or 5-1/2.
Well, it's just not looking great if you're on the side of no plans, but Team Mystic, well, at least the little nerves and shakes I had when we were coming into this saying, okay, they took you 7-5 in Oregon, you've got to go to their map. Well, that's pretty much been abated. I think on attack, we are going to see the same aggression. Gunner isn't going to be taking that entry frag role, but will be very close to follow up. Definitely feeling the mechanical ability of that player moving forward is just going to be right behind Feltwinter, I think. And if they say, okay, Feltwinter, do this, Gunner, rotate around, maybe hold this, maybe push long bar while Feltwinter takes white, well, then Gunner's going to be able to do it and is going to excel at it. However, no plants, this is the beginning of the redemption arc for them. This is the defense on your map. You have the opportunity to really make something work. You can see the castle and the Aruni. So maybe some little bit of a plan is starting to form in the head of no plants. This is a real opportunity to bring it back. If you can kick your start with a round win, or maybe two, then you have a real chance of just rolling on with it.
I'm not sure exactly what we're going to see from these Aruni gates. Where are they going to be placed? Are you going to put one over in Pixel? Are you going to put one over on the west door of the bar to deny entrance in the shop? Are you going to put them on the hatches to force Mystic to burn drones or utility? Honestly, I don't know if it's going to be all that important. This is the strategy. So what's going to be taking place is going to be a shop's extension with pretty much all of no plants utility. And again, those Aruni gates are going to be acting as almost an extra ADS, but they will be recharging in 30 seconds. So if no plants is able to basically waste utility at the start of the round, they'll be able to open up that gate once again and kind of repeat those steps. It is putting Banky on an island, and he has to hope that he can rotate out of Humidor, and Donkey is going to be holding his cross coverage. Interesting position to say the least, but we're going to have to see how it pans out.
Now, these Aruni gates offer something that I was talking about on Oregon. It offers the opportunity to fill in the gaps of where your defense may be by having that utility and at least time to rotate around. Felwinter, though, will lose the drone that is meant to take control of that Aruni gate, holding the pixel very, very careful, not knowing where Donkey is playing, but very much aware that something is going on. Right now, you're going to need that rotate onto that south side window if you really want to flush out Donkey, or you just have to pre-fire win your one. Donkey, though, wants to take the gunfight and is going to take Felwinter off the board. A very strong start. Zeno is there for the refrag, but being on a window, it's very easy for a defender to contest that, so they're just going to try and take that gunfight. Donkey is going to maintain control of this piano minibar, and as such, we are going to see Mystic start to stall out. They're looking to get open Red Wall, and will be able to, but once smoke canisters come through, they're very, very slow, and that's not what I expected to see on their attack at all. No plants, though. An incredible job of slowing them down, and they've still got Blanky in that shot.
Mystic looks perplexed. They have no idea how they want to push this, and this is, again, that mini-game puzzle that they need to identify. And maybe this opportunity to bring out one of the legacy strategies. You do a cocktail execute. You basically go on the exact opposite side of No Plant's utility and force them to rotate on over. Banky just sitting close quarters with a shotgun, knock them up, line them up, and get some free kills. He can hear multiple members, the two remaining members of Mystic on the other side of the door frame. He's debating on whether or not he wants to send that shotgun down range. It's going to be a swing by the Bearing 9, but no any damage being dealt, really. A brazen play, to say the least, by Rexavy, and now it's going to leave Whitlock against 4.
Yes, now time is to get out in 45 seconds, and Whitlock just stuck on red stairs, realistically just waiting. There's not much that can be done unless you really want to step up huge. You have the opportunity to give your team time just to say, what went wrong? Why are No Plants able to beat us out when we have been in complete control for the entire first half? Yeah, it can be this site switch, but is it really the case? What I think it is No Plants. They've committed to a very, very aggressive position in holding that piano, in holding that shop, and not giving it away at the first sign of contention. Whitlock, though, will be able to find the first kill. 8 seconds. There's not going to be much more. Pushes through that Aruni gate, gets Echo Jam. You're not going to get the plant. There's no point really bothering. Siberian, just a formality there, but what I was saying was the setup they had, I don't think we saw Mystic prepared for it. I don't think they were looking into No Plants as playing that kind of playstyle from their attacking side. It's a very different style, whereas No Plants didn't want to get inside the building the first time. Now they want to be in all of it at the moment. Moving out the kitchen, though. They need to keep this roam game. They need to get as many rounds on the board before Mystic starts to get the ball rolling again. They've already done a lot of the round legwork. They need just one, realistically, Chief, to secure at least 1 point.
The thing is, for Mystic, sure, you have a strategy that you've never seen, but your job as the IGL is to be able to be prepared for every scenario, even the ones that you've never seen, be able to understand what is happening and how to break it down. Nothing in Rainbow Six Siege is particularly unique. You can apply a certain style of play from a different map and reverse engineer it to the map that you're playing. So again, we've maybe have never seen, somebody hold shops before, even though we most definitely have. But maybe you take it the same philosophy as you would on Villa, upstairs in Trophy, when the defenders extend into coat check. It's the same scenario. Doesn't matter if there's an FO12 in play, or if it's a Warden, or if it's, the smoke playing close quarters. You have to coordinate that utility and break it down, setting up your crossfires. And if you have identified, hey, I don't think we have the resources for this, or I don't want to deal with it, which is also a fine, idea to have as an IGL, we do a different push. We can do that reading room, vertical clear, try to send all of our explosive utilities over on cocktail sign and do a white window execute. That would be a good read, but Mystic, they just trying to butt their heads against all of No Plant's utility and not accomplish anything. Again, you have to be dynamic and understand what the defense is doing.
I'm sure that you're making points that are very coherent and 100% accurate, but you'll have to forgive me, I was having a flashback to Ella's shotgun, triple ADS, well, my support in the closet and Villa. Anytime somebody brings it up, especially with the Ella, oh, it just does horrible things to me, man. But looking at the round ahead, we're not on Villa, we don't have an Ella on the board, but what we do have is an SAS combination. We have a top floor roam that's being cleared out by Mystic very, very easily. They have that control. Gunner's going to be opening up the floor. They can move down below into that train area. In doing so, they have a lot of opportunity for the vertical play, and No Plants haven't made them do anything to get it. That's the biggest change that I'm seeing, is right now No Plants, they're just playing that Jaeger and Dining who's pulling back through an open hatch. Rather than playing aggressive in that piano on that shop, they're playing very passive in the way that they want to defend. Now, GXD has got that shotgun and vertical angle, but realistically, you might be helping the attackers more. If GXD dies right now, well, you've just done part of the Sledge's job.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same boat you are. You need to waste time in this roam, and at bare minimum, you make that rotation at 90 seconds, because I was going to give the attackers probably closer to 80, maybe 75 seconds to actually do that vertical play. But when you rotate out at 110, 115 seconds, I mean, well, just look what Mystic's doing right now. It's just Swiss cheesing the entire floor, reconstructing it, and just being an absolute bully. I mean, No Plants can't even sit safe in their own bomb site, and we still have 60 seconds left to go. Now, the silver lining was the flank that was happening up the red stairs. It won't be completed, however, the nitro cell will be good enough. That is going to be one of your primary ships, the one that was truly in charge of Swiss cheesing that floor and that ceiling off the board. No more Sledgehammer, as well as those frags.
Yeah, we will see Feltwinter being picked off as well, with No Plants losing GXE, starting the kills off for Mystic. But right now, you're looking at that top floor control with 30 seconds still being in the attacker's favor. Rexy starts to push up, blinds himself, runs right into the Valkyrie, and is not able to kill Junior, who will pick up their second kill. The rest of his presence is very noticeable from Whitlock, but Junior's just going to pull back. You have got the diffuser down in Bakery. Xeno's going to have to rotate around, and Junior's just there to clean him up. 10 seconds to get down. Whitlock, well, what are you going to do? You sit on the red stairs, you push forward, you expose yourself. You don't have a choice. This round is as good as lost. Again, with Whitlock trying to bring it back. No Plants able to find their second defensive round. Can they keep it moving to reading dining? Can they keep using this playstyle, and the shift in playstyle, most importantly, to just take Mystic off guard?
What's in the water today, Greedy? What are we feeding our Valkyrie players? They're just disgusting. They're gnarly.
Honestly, the players that they're going for, right? Junior, if Junior left Gunner alive and didn't go for that flank, well, this would have been a much different round, because the angles that Gunner was making, obviously you're looking at your floor, that's huge. But Gunner actually opened up that fancy hallway, that Christmas tree wall. In doing so, you offer yourself the opportunity to open up the floor of that corridor, Pillars corridor as well, and then you can see down to the red rotate. You can shut that down. You can shut down a lot of that freedom of movement the roamers will have, and with Junior going up, finding that kill onto Gunner, you free that up yet again. That long is back firmly in No Plants control. Mystic can't use it, and I don't know what happened. We went from very much Mystic's round to win to No Plants just saying no. And Junior, you've been struggling so far, but those 3 kills, they were beautiful.
The power of the opening duels. That's what it comes down to, my friend. Reading and feeding, though. We're going to see this bomb site for the first time of No Plants. Nothing out of the ordinary so far. Doing their traditional run-of-the-mill, put your reinforcements upstairs, try to hold for as long as possible. And I love Mute. Mute has been a great operator, and Mute has gotten even better. He can now mute trick or just turn off certain gadgetry, whether or not it's a traditional drone, like he always has. But if you have an air jab, for example, he can turn that off. And that becomes quite important. Now, how are we going to see Siberian playing that operator? So he can be in an aggressive manner where he just, swings everything and then tries to escape through mute jammers, or is he going to be your traditional SMG-11, bro? Hiding on the bomb site and just waiting for that final execute to come in and being that last line of defense with a shotgun and 17 bullets.
Yeah, and slowing down is what we want to see from Plants, but not them slowing down. Being able to have that pulse on the board, and if Mystic know about it, well, then they realize we've got to slow down in the terms of how we advance quickly, because we need to clear it out, but we need to be very fast on our feet. In doing so, you're putting the attackers in a lot of pressure to try and bring things back. Yes, GXD's going to get droned out, but like I said, that just alerts the attackers to the fact that, well, there's some free information on them. Feltwinter is looking to take control, as is Gunnar using that sledgehammer. But right now, they're taking a very slow, measured approach. Mystic kind of changing things up, saying, right, this is how we're going to play it. That Banshee will go off. Donkey is ready to get the kills. Now, Donkey, a huge play on the last game, but not so much right now, is trying to find a kill onto the white window, but pulls back just in case. Junior, in support, will say, all right, let's play it safe. Let's take our time. Let's not overpeak. Let's not give away anything. They'll do it first. Donkey, though, will be swung on by Gunnar, but Junior's there for the first kill and the second. A minute 20 on the clock, no plants with that player advantage, which will be taken away by Rexavy, but Mystics, they're playing the catch-up game. They need to start putting this into drive and start this vertical play. They have time, they have the top floor, now it's time to really get the work done, but Junior on brown stairs is going to be taken away by Rexavy.
The only problem with that vertical play is Ash Feltwinter only has 3 of the flat breaching charges left. Spinning out 2, and actually it will grab one of those nitro cells. Now, no plants. They're in a good position. They have 60 seconds, and they have the man disadvantage, but nothing that's going to be too toxic for them. Particularly GXD on that built-in wall hacks of that cardiac sensor. He will know exactly where Mystic is pushing from. But the worst part of that storyline will be the fact that Mystic has now pushed all of No Plants out of their bomb site, the reading bomb site to be precise, and Rexavy is allowed to push in through the semi-held door. It's going to be a free plan, and Siberian, he has a pre-made angle, a nice one-tap for him, and now Mystic is going to have to take these gunfights. It's going to be impossible to retrieve the defuse, or at least retrieving it safely. And they don't have time on their side. They just have to flood in. A bag grenade is going to make this round very doable for No Plants. Whitlock is taking a plethora of damage, no idea where he's being shot from, forced to hold the angle, and he's going to now just secure the round for No Plants. A good round altogether, and honestly, No Plants had no business winning.
Team Mystic, right now, you're approaching the end of your safety buffer. That's pretty much all but gone. We're looking at No Plants going from a 5-1 split, Chief, to winning every single defense round, and now only 1 from breaking even with Mystic. So now's the time to step up. You've had your opportunity to throw some rounds, but you need to be tightening things up. However, the momentum firmly in No Plants, the ball's in their court. They're looking at this and they're saying, they're struggling. They're starting to stall out. The way that we're playing is catching them off guard. Yes, they're finding these advantages and times to win, but they're still making critical mistakes. Whitlock is going to be fragging Feltwinter. Whitlock is then going to be not covering the planter as well when we see, I believe it was the SMG11 GXD playing using that pre-made angle. We're seeing Mystic starting to make some basic mistakes, and that's what I said this map came down to, the basics. Going back to the top floor, Mystic, maybe they want to try a reading push, because sure as hell, last time, it didn't work.
Again, I just want to go back to GXD and highlighting him and his play. I mean, he is truly the rock for his team, and Siberian, as you were saying too, the newest addition, has also found himself a rock. And, you know, sometimes you just need that breath of fresh air. Bringing in a new player will change up your entire lineup, because again, it's a different game philosophy that you're playing, because every strat that you run, it's uniquely tailored to your own team, that current 5 stack. But the moment that you bring in an unknown entity, you could try to bring over your strats, but again, if you have, let's say, we'll talk about Gunnar, since he's been in the server being absolutely nuts. If you write a strategy, hey, I need you to spawn peek. You know, if you have another player doing that isn't Gunnar, it might not work. If you have him, you know, isolated up in Humidor, he might not have, you know, a player that has a cojones to stay there for 90 seconds and get the kill. Gunnar, great player, Giga Brain, he'll be more than happy and willing to do that.
Yeah, but like we said, we're seeing Mystic start to stall out. They have decided to go for that more east side take. They've got the air jabs going out, ready for the runouts. They're saying, right, okay, we're ready to go. We're ready to deal with whatever you have. But those air jabs, they only trigger when somebody is actually stood up. If they jump out, they can catch you on the drop. That can cause a lot of issues. Now, Feltwinter is going to be baiting, actually, the information that he's playing on that white window, and just pre-firing as well, trying to bait out a peek. Nothing's going to come of it yet, but now they have that added control. They have those stairs, but Junior's on the flank. This is a very nice play that can come up huge. If you find Feltwinter, it's going to be a free kill. There's going to be no real refrag potential unless we see Feltwinter really just catch up with the rest of the team. But the vertical play, it's coming through. Junior wants a play on the side. GXD will take some damage, but Feltwinter just going to keep on getting this vertical angles and won't be able to find the kill. Gunner, though, with a frag grenade, like you were talking about, incredible player, is able to. And we'll get that first kill for No Plants. Now, Junior, if you're able to find a pick here, this could change everything. That's a refrag, that's even man count. And Feltwinter's about to walk into you, but suspects that something might be up. The camera goes out, the swing comes through, and Junior hits the ground. Feltwinter still able to just push forward the team. This is what Mystic need. They're playing a much more tighter game.
They can stop the bleeding here. They have a large man advantage, and they can just start to take gunfights. They will participate in exactly that. Now 1v4. It's going to be all on our Rooney. She finds an incredible headshot, but still 3 more in her way. Donkey has been good, but he has to now be better. Dishing out damage, that's nice to have, but again, you still need to win these gunfights. A bad sprint by Gunner and one of his few mistakes. But look at Mystic's position. Xeno's in the bomb sign. If he loses this, it's going to be an incredible way for Mystic to throw this round. Now a 1v1. He can hear the rappel in from the heaven window, and he might have the information. Whitlock has to take these gunfights. He doesn't know exactly where his opponent's playing as he pushes deeper into the bar. He catches the sprint, takes a little bit of damage. Now both these players stuck at the same HP. Once again, Whitlock's going to put the bomb down, just teasing and making that audio cue. But with 2 seconds left, it's going to come down to 0-0. Whitlock's going to confirm the bomb, but Donkey shuts him down sooner.
Mystic have just stopped completely. No Plants, they're taking every single mistake, and they're taking it with them. They're giving the Aruni ones. In a 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4, they're giving them ones, starting with Feltwinter on the white stairs. As soon as that happens, well, you're seeing the Aruni just moves up to that timber area, catches Gunner in the sprint, trying to pick up that position. You should be expecting, and not sprinting. Definitely not in that high-stakes scenario. Now you've broke even. Now you've just lost Xeno, who lost their gunfight, and Whitlock, who didn't really know and ran out of time. Things are just going up No Plants at this point. They have a real shot at pushing it to match point. I really see them riding the momentum as we do go down to that kitchen service. But looking at how they had it last time, I want to see more top floor play. I want to see more roaming game coming out from No Plants. Because, like we said, they gave Mystic a lot of control, a lot of time, and a lot of map control to rip open the floor. In doing so, they just gave so many opportunities. They were lucky to tighten them down, and Junior did a huge job doing that. But you can't rely on Junior every single time.
I mean, you're highlighting the lopsided effect of these teams, and that storyline just is something that we've seen a lot in week 3. It just seems like players are, not participating enough on their roles or their duties, and they force their other teammates to kind of cash in on the going nuts trend. But let's see what Mystic is going to be able to do. Now, to their credit, they had a great IGL call. They learned that just pushing in through bar, at least from the west, like we normally would do, that wasn't an option for us. They tried their east clear using reading room and that vertical play of Cocktail. To their credit, it almost worked out well, but now they can use that same philosophy as they execute on Kitchen. What are they going to do to clear out these roamers in a swift manner? Well, they did that last time, but what was really their bane was a nitro cells from underneath and the potential flanks from red. So you're going to have to establish some type of flank drone, and your air jabs, they won't be good enough.
Yeah, you've got Junior still playing very, very aggressive with that C4 ready for that audio of the drop. We'll be backing down and thinking against it because you're saying at this point, if we give Mystic anything, then we jeopardize putting it to match point and possibly beating out the undefeated leaders of Group A. Donkey, though, isn't able to win the gunfight against Gunner, who is going to be able to get to work on that vertical play, falling to Junior. And the last time we saw this site, a very close round. The question is, can Mystic tighten things up? Can they put themselves back in the driver's seat? They are going to be getting that top floor control and that reading dining control. Most importantly, finding a kill. No Plants did try, but weren't able to, and 1C4 will be taken off the board already. The one of Junior, but 2 are still in the pocket of GXD and Bwanky. This could still go the way of no plants as long as they play it properly, Chief.
Wait, that's a mute without a shotgun. That's an MP5K with the 1.5 times sight. Honestly, we're talking about something that's refreshing, and there we go. At least, you know, change something up. Do something that's different. And I mean, I guess Mystic did something different. They won that opening duel and was able to just full control that top floor. And here comes that play. Oh my lord. Felt Winter. That was just unacceptably nasty. You can't do that. Oh, a brilliant read, a brilliant understanding of how the map dynamic works out. And now no plants. This is the penultimate round of regular play. No plants cannot afford to stumble here, and there's only 3 of their teammates left alive.
Yeah, now what we just see is we're seeing this angle onto red being used, and because of that, Junior is going to try and get this flank. Having taken out a couple of drones, you can safely say, alright, they might not have... They've only got 4 drones. They might not have them watching the right place. Junior, though, will be taken away by Gunner. Things looking good for Mystic. Blanky, the only player not on site at the moment, as JXD is going to find that kill. And suddenly, Blanky, the only player not on site, will be taken down. Mystic, a flawless round, but it took them 4 to get here, Chief. 4 whole rounds where they just didn't realistically play a game properly. If that makes sense to you at all.
Everything you make sense. You say makes sense. Apparently, I just lost my ability to complete English sentences, so it happens to the best of us sometimes.
You're fangirling pretty hard there.
I am fangirling for you, Creedy.
Yeah.
It just happens. I mean, you're a glorious human being. I mean, you're just beautiful in all aspects, so much love.
Oh, well, thank you.
See? Anyways, it's kitchen. Time to cook up some things. And this cast is also just getting as steamy as that kitchen was for Mystic. I mean, what a showing. A flawless round for them. I mean, no plants needs to be a little bit more active in the things that they do. They can't just immediately lose control of fire plays because Mystic decides to hot drop and just challenge right away. Where's the contingency plan for no plants? They have to know as soon as that hatch above piano or in piano just gets ripped open, what do you expect Mystic to do? They want to take gunfights. They have been taking gunfights, and what they were successful of, or almost successful of, when they went to kitchen back in round 8 was their ability to clear out the map. Why aren't you prepared for that?
Yeah, now we're seeing the arena gates coming through, but realistically, that's one charge, and then suddenly, well, someone's dropping through that hatch. You're committing a lot to that freezer position on the assumption that they're going to push there again. If we see Mystic go for the same take, they will have a lot of opportunities. They can rotate around to Bakery and get it open if they get that top floor control with enough time. Or they can go for the freezer, or they can go for that double door. You're committing a lot of utility based on an assumption, and that can't be good for no plants at the moment, because there's a 1 in at least 3 chance that you're right. And if that is the case, it's going to be great, don't get me wrong. But Mystic might just read into it and say no. But the pre-placed C4, actually, that we're hearing, that might have a lot of potential moving forward. I like to think it will, because as soon as that arena gate gets taken out in the hatch, while you pop the C4, you get a free kill. We're seeing no plants playing it a little bit safer, and that's what you need to see if you're them.
And, you know, to go back to a point that I made earlier that was making me have gray hairs was the fact that all the same Valkyrie cameras that Mystic was using, no plants has decided to use. Case in point, Felt Winter losing his life there. I mean, you would think no plants, when they were on attack, they would say, hey, we put Valkyrie cameras in these positions. Do you think our opponents will? And obviously the answer is yes to both of those questions, but refrags back and forth, and Junior, he was hot for a few minutes. He has now been bathed in a really cold bath full of ice cubes, and he is still on that struggle bus. 6 and 11, it's so heartbreaking to see Junior in that position because he's a brilliant entry and a roamer, and he just hasn't really had the impacts. And another great camera.
Yes, now, like you said, we're seeing another camera. We're seeing Gunner using that angle to cut off that red angle yet again. But they know about it. This information is going to be here. And right now, Mystic, a minute 20 on the clock. They're going to look to do all the vertical play that they can. Still a C4, though, in pocket on the side of Junior, who's dead. So now you're looking at your gunfights. Now you're looking at wasting time. And right now, Mystic, I favor them to take this. I favor them to shut things out and stay undefeated. As Siberian is going to be taking a nap 6 feet under thanks to Xeno with a vertical play. Gotta start burning some ADSs just to say, okay, we can start pushing here if we want to. We have that avenue open. Be careful. You don't have to push in through there, but it just says to no plans you need to be prepared for a push one way or another. Donkey is going to be taking away that Gemini. I got excited a little bit. I thought it was an actual player, and maybe so did he. However, 40 seconds, Chief. Mystic could end this all. A 4 versus 3. Donkey is in VIP, but the hatch is open. You have the vertical control. This could go either way.
Whitlock needs to use that 2 grenades he has to just push away Donkey. This deployable shield in VIP, as you're highlighting, is going to be so crucial. Mystic forgets about it altogether. Rexivy's now down. The diffuser is surrendered. You need to crash back on the bomb site if you're no plans. Donkey knows this all too well as he gets aggressive, trying to challenge those white stairs, utilizing that time denial. The diffuser, once again, is going to be dropped on the ground, and Mystic has to send, but it's all GXD against 2. An incredibly tight angle is going to be perfect for him as he collects the headshots. It was almost the ace for him, but he doesn't need that prize as he gets the 4K. He slumps everybody from Team Mystic.
An angle from Smallbake, through to red, through double door, onto default. Wow, no plans want to win this, don't they? So they'll be pushing us through overtime with that angle. Well, we said they're going to need something special to really shut down everything, and that position from GXD, such a power position. From there, you have control over that default plan in Freezer like we talked about. You've also got Long, you've also got Smallbake. You can rotate and you can deal with wherever you need to that's necessary. And now you're back on defense. Now you're going to be going to that top floor, which you've been winning out very, very comfortably. Donkey performing incredibly well on the Arudi so far when you're on that top floor. This is why Mystic have been struggling on their attacks. They haven't been able to get the necessary map control. They've won 1 round of every attacking round that they've had so far, Chief. Right now, no plans getting that defense. Well, that can't be a bad position to be in, especially when you're looking to show that you can contest the best team in your group. Mystic, unbeaten, but for how long?
McCready, I'm concerned about this overtime that we're going to see. It was a 5-1 half answered by a 5-1 half, which means the defense, they're going to be winning a lot of these rounds. So at a certain point, do we just scratch our heads? Are we just going to see an unlimited, infinite overtime where everybody just wins their defensive stints and is going to maybe set the record for another longest game? I mean, after all, Billy and I, Blue Panda, have the 2nd longest game ever casted. And you know what? The way these teams are playing, I'm expecting to break that record today, but only time will tell. No plants, as you highlighted, they're going upstairs to Bart. But I don't like when teams repeat bomb sites, but now since we're in overtime, you're not going to be able to repeat bomb sites per se, but you're going to be repeating the exact same strategy. No plants has shown this extension into shops 3 times now. Mystic the first time, they're absolutely perplexed. The second time, they're very successful, almost successful at putting the bomb down and being able to plant on their execute from the south. This is a position that no plants needs to be prepared for.
Yeah, I'm in a record-breaking mood today. I don't know about you. I've got nowhere else to be. Right now, Mystic, they're wanting to start us off very strong and break the trend of the attackers struggling. They've got Feltwinter yet again on the vertical play being droned in. Junior, nowhere to be seen right now on the roam, but there's potential for him to drop down using those red stairs. Mystic, they have that presence on the east side. Now, if you remember, it was a 1 versus 4. The plant was ready to go down. It was just down to Donkey. If you can take away Donkey, you take away one of the big issues, but Siberian is going to find the first kill onto Gunner, and in doing so, frag grenades are gone. Sledgehammer, L85, the SMG11, a huge operator being taken off the board, and no less onto Gunner, the huge driving force, especially in the early round. We're seeing no plans now, they're adjusting their defensive strategy, they're saying, right, they're going for an east side push, let's activate this strategy. Let's get all of our utility rotated around so we can defend from long. Feltwinter, he's going to be the biggest obstacle in that.
That is quite a stack from No Plants. That is 4 teammates over in bar back storage. You double nade that, and I think everybody dies there. You know, this is the opportunity. How cool would it be if, like, Fuse had, like, a charge where he can throw almost like a Roomba, and it just sends frag grenades downrange. That would be incredibly awful. Like a Ying Candela of just pain and suffering. Junior is going to be buried, and I guess he's going to have to call his teammates to, you know, give him a nice speech at his funeral because he is unable to do anything this round. He's been silent. Actually, Gunner's been pretty silent as well. He was sitting at, like, I believe 7 kills when he was on defense, and now He only got 5 kills on an attack in those 6 rounds. But the bomb is going down for Team Mystic. What is No Plan's answer back? Well, it's going to be a forced retake. They have to take these gunfights, and GXC, the star player, will be unable to do so. Down but not out, and it looks like members of No Plants, they want to fly out the south windows, and it's just not availability for them.
Yeah, they know about the air jabs. They know that they're going to be watching it. The Mystic, they're expecting a retake. Siberian is going to try and get to the reading door, but will bait that air jab incorrectly, being picked up by Whitlock. Xena on the skylight is able to break the curse for Mystic and pick them up their first attacking round on this site. Very nicely done from them. Very nice adaptation from No Plants. As soon as they knew that East presence was there, it was going to be an East side take, they pulled back and they played it safe. But in doing so, they sacrificed the ability to stop the push and stop the plant. If you had a player drop Heaven and play Pillars, maybe where Siberian was playing before it came to that post plant, maybe you could have had a different performance. Have a Valcam and just say, okay, they are planting on yellow ping, shoot it. As soon as that happens, you stop the plant, you force them to come in yet again, and Mystic, well, that was a very nice read from them, a very nice execution, and most importantly, the post plant. That was where the bread was in. That was where the bread was, and they got it.
Interesting to see the tertiary bomb site come out, reading and feeding now being showed. And again, with Mystic taking that round on attack, this is a perfect position to be in overtime. Because we are saying, oh, the series has been so defender-sided, because it has. But with Mystic now taking their second round on attack, they just have to, well, say we were able to win Reading Room before, and we're going to bring it back out. Frost is going to be making her appearance once again. Again, I love Frost. She's always a fun operator to have in play. But will her Frost mats really provide all that Mystic needs? I mean, the last time that we saw it, Rexavy was placing them kind of in unique positions. Again, all with purpose, and that's the important thing to note. But is it really going to be providing that much dividends to the team? You have to think about the opportunity cost of utility. If you bring out a Frost, you're foregoing a different operator. If you want deployable shields, well, maybe bring out somebody like a Smoke, which is currently not in your lineup.
Now, I want to tell you something. I've seen the Frost being used in this position and on that minibar position, and it's found, both of them actually found a player, and that was a very exciting
I've died
day
to
for
it
me.
before, so
Yeah, you understand the pain, but right now, what I'm looking at is the fact that we're seeing what should be a top floor hold coming out from Mystic if they want to. But No Plants, they might just see this top floor setup and say, okay, we do a top floor take. We don't think about that bottom because they're not going to play there, when in actuality, well, we know that they are. The red stairs is going to be opened. Gunner is going to be playing down below. This, with the Valkyrie, is where we really saw Gunner start to shine. If there is an opportunity for Gunner to really set the pace of this game like they did in the start, it's right now.
What an angle. This is a duel to the death. Iron-willed individuals just trying to challenge pixel angles. I mean, Whitlock should be able to win this 9 out of 10 times if he's going against somebody that has, you know, a no-time sight, a 1x sight. But when that was the Ash, he had the advantage. Now there's a 2-time sight, the Zofia. It's going to be a difficult position to be in. Whitlock, he's still going to be holding his ground, brings out his pistol, sprints back to safety, and now he can continue on his job. Wasting time. We talk about how oppressive mirror windows are. It's going to be a pseudo mirror window in play. It's going to be that deployable shield, cutting off everything, every movement, and turning Piano into absolute no man's land.
Yeah, Whitlock, with that P10 Roni at the moment, is baiting forward. Rexavy waiting with that Frost SMG. Now it's a low rate of fire, high damage weapon. Your job is to chunk them up. Whitlock will then swing with that high rate of fire P10 Roni and finish you off very quickly. You still have these very basic cams coming out, but effective. They're basic and being used for a reason. Rexavy will be able to find the first kill onto Siberian. Mystic starting out very, very strong with the diffuser going down in Piano. Still with the information, still with all the lines of sight, and still with No Plants feeling very uncomfortable as Donkey will be picking it up. Time is ticking down and Whitlock is on that pixel door. He has the air jab, but knows you just got to take one good quick peek. You could cause a lot of shenanigans. Junior, though, going to cause some of their own as Rexavy finds their second kill. Able to find a refrag. That's going to be Cocktail in control of No Plants. But Mystic, they're starting to pull back.
That vertical play is going to be so important. Junior almost walks into that Frost mat. He has to use those flat place charges just to remove all that ceiling pressure. Now, you also do have a sledge in play, so you can be on the good end of that, but there's 22 seconds left on the clock. You kind of have to just start to plan your send. Gunner's going to be rotating over to a position that he hopes that no plans will be prepared for. Whitlock is going to file GXD, now just a 1v4. Banky forced to go to the SMG-11. He doesn't even know where his opponents are. He attempts the swing, but it's all in vain. It's going to be Team Mystic taking round 14. No plans. It was incredibly important for the find points today, but they only find one.
And we will see Team Mystic being able to place themselves ever further at the top of that Group A spot right now. They performed very well on Oregon, very comfortably, I think, and especially in the first half of this CAF map. You've got to give a lot of shout out to Gunner, but as soon as Gunner started to get shut down, well, that's definitely when we saw No Plan starting to bring it back on the attack. The scoreline, it feels so much more different than what we saw. It feels like we should see a 7-2 and a 7-3 to either team, just based on the sides that they've been playing. But Team Mystic, in the end, they were able to keep that mental fortitude and just keep going. It took them a while, but they got there in the end. And Chief, it was a great game to cast.
I mean, honestly, No Plants, they're shaping up to be such a good roster. I mean, when you're going against a team that is leading your division and you're in second place, I expect nothing else other than seeing round 12 in every single map that we had. No Plants did exactly that. They accomplished their goal. Now, unfortunately to them, they weren't able to get any points for map 1, but, you know, sometimes stumbles happen. No points for No Plants. You make mistakes at the end of the day, and No Plans has a bright future in front of them. When they go against Mystic, maybe in postseason, I think they're going to be a little bit more prepared. But I also have to highlight Mystic. You know, when they found themselves in a strategy that they'd never seen before, they did stumble. That upstairs shops hold, they didn't know how to deal with it. But in the end, when we saw it the second time, Mystic was so close to being successful. When they saw it the third time, they knew exactly what to do. That level of thinking and that strong understanding that IGL has is going to be an asset that Mystic will be able to use in every game that they play moving forward.
But I think one main thing that both teams definitely need to do as we move towards the end of the group stages, as we're on the halfway mark right now, is the attack on CAF. Teams are going to be watching this. Teams are going to be looking for these little weaknesses, these little mistakes. You have got to take this VOD. You have got to improve on the attack, because if either team had the attack down just that little bit better, picked up a couple more rounds, we would have seen a much less closer scoreline, if that makes sense. We would have seen a team winning a lot more comfortably and a lot more securely, rather than Max OT with 2 rounds coming out on the board. There needs to be work, definite improvement coming out from both teams. However, a strong performance from both of them at the moment, especially on Oregon. I'm very pleased with Oregon, whereas it felt the better team won. But on CAF, I think whoever made the basic mistakes, they were the people who'd lose the round.
You know, there's so many storylines of Rainbow Six Siege, and one of those crucial aspects are going to be statistics. We're going to dive over there and kind of break down the numbers aspect of this series. And we have to first look at plants and see if our favorite team, Team No Plants, was able to ever put that bomb down. And something else we want to look at, we're highlighting how effective Junior is going to be on the entry in our first map. He really did struggle in that. But finally, on Kafe, he'll find those impacts going 3-3, so that means 3 opening kills and 3 opening deaths. And Felt Winters, his stat line will get better at a 3-1 differential on that entries.
Yeah, looking at this, you're saying, looking at the stats, well, how was it as close as it was? Realistically, we're seeing individual players just struggling and then coming up huge in another couple of rounds and bumping up their stats. Say, Junior with that 3k, being able to pad the stats just a little bit more, close that, get that 3-3 split. Overall, when it comes to entry frags, I feel like it was rather even, but it definitely was favored for Team Mystic. As you can see on the entry KD, you've got a lot more entries going for Team Mystic, a total of 9, whereas No Plants, they only had 5. That's a pretty big margin. And when you look at the cost as well, you're seeing Rexavy really coming out as one of the standout players for Team Mystic, going 11-5. In a round where you went to overtime, only dying in 5 rounds. That's rather impressive to me. I'm quite pleased to see that.
And with that, well, Mystic, they have a representation. They have Gunner. He's going to talk about all of his shenanigans, all the fun that he has. He's a brilliant player. First off, my friend, welcome to the casting booth. My friend, I believe you're muted there.
Right.
Hello?
Hey, there he
Hello.
is. Welcome.
Yeah.
Great.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm sure you're doing better after that win. Now, to break things down, what prep did you put into this series?
Uh,
I think the face says it all.
scrims. I mean,
All
we
right.
didn't really prep for the game, but yeah. We
So,
kind of just took time off for a little bit after the NSG surgery and kind of just got back into scrims a couple days ago. So, I mean, we weren't really too worried about the game. We figured we'd win, so.
So I guess my follow-up question I might know the answer to. How does a team, this can be in general, prep for a new player joining? We obviously saw that No Plans, they had a new teammate. And do you prepare for that, or do you just say, oh, you know, our scrim strats are going to be good enough?
I mean, it depends on the player, really. Like, they're not... Most of the time, we're like really want to prep for someone, it'll be like an entry fragger, like a really high-impact player. And with someone like Siberian, like, love Siberian, but like, him coming in as like a Habana like support, I'm not really like too worried about like a new player coming like per se like Splash, because like with him you're just gonna be crouch walking in across the map somewhere, and like you just have to be ready for that. You know?
So
yeah,
So talking a little bit more about Kafe, you were beyond gnarly. What allows you to just somehow get 3 spawn kills in a row and then sit in Humidor and repeat that exact same success?
T3. I don't know. you can get away with a lot of stuff against a lot of T3 teams, but like I don't know. I was just feeling myself today. I was hitting the shots. You know, it's just a problem though, because like we get really comfortable, and then it bites us in the ass once they start coming back like how they did, and then like we finally hit like a mental reset, and then we smoke them. You know, it happens a lot. So that's just one thing we got to fix. Yeah.
Before I pass over to McCready, how was Kafe a 5-1 half for both teams?
I don't know. I mean, both teams were just obviously struggling on attack. With like with us, like we just went way too fast. We didn't really like look and see what they were holding. Kind of just went for our default stuff. Like once we just finally adapted to like cocktail takes and like free-through drops, like it was fine. But we just went way too fast. So, and I think that happened with them too, because they did the exact same attack over and over and over again. So like once you read into it once, it's kind of just read into it every time.
Well, McCready, I'll let you wrap up the questions.
Yeah, so I'm going to play a little bit of good caster, bad caster at the moment and fulfill the role of bad. I've got to get into the nitty-gritty of the Kafe because I think you know it was coming. When it comes to the rounds where you're really starting to step up, you're finding those entry frags, you're just running rings around the defenders, because, let's be honest, or the attackers, sorry, because that's what happened in the early Kafe. How do you deal with the fact that switching on to attack, you're stalling out completely?
I mean, we didn't deal with it well until, like, finally, like, we were, honestly, like, mentally, we were just, like, getting really on each other, especially I was getting on some players, and it's affecting their gameplay, affecting mine. Like, together, I mean, like, it happens every time where, like, they'll come back, and once we just hit, like, a mental reset, we just calm down, we get things going one by one, like, we just one step at a time, and then, I mean, you'll win every time. It's just a matter of just disciplining yourself.
Okay, fair enough. And now I'm going to actually bring it back to Oregon and be a bit less critical, realistically. Looking at Oregon, when you guys started out, you started out quite comfortably on whichever side you were on. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure Chief will correct me. Yeah, attack. You started out quite comfortably. You picked up a couple of rounds, and then you were able to bring it back to a 3-3. Moving on to defense, we saw you guys getting progressively more aggressive with how you'd play the round. What was the mental thought process behind that?
Well, I feel like Oregon is just like, it's one of those spots on defense where like people say it's defender-sided, but like honestly, like if you're giving attackers like control and like you're not doing anything, you're just gonna get collapsed upon and it's over. Like for upstairs, like if you're not swinging, if that guy just sits big window the whole time, you can't swing white, can't swing big, you're kind of limited to what you can do. So like after the first round of Oregon, where I think we were kids. And we kind of just like sat back, and then they kind of just like started slowly working picks. And like after that, I just said like, just swing these kids. Like, you know, you're better than them, swing them. And you saw what happened.
Yeah, well, I think the results do definitely speak for themselves. Chief, I'm out of questions. I don't know about you, man.
Well, my friend, the floor is now yours. Shout out your roster, shout out your team, shout out your support staff, everybody that helped you be successful today.
Thank you to anyone that supports us, and shout out my team. Like, I know they put a lot of work in, and like they got to deal with me, and I'm not like the nicest person in the world sometimes. Like, shout out to them. Is that it though?
My friend, it is, my friend. Great talking to you again. Congrats on your victory. Let's go back to your team and actually celebrate.
Thank you, thank you.
Cheers. Well, McCready, that was a phenomenal interview, but our final thing of the day, we're going to show the global stats across the entire series and kind of get that big picture.
Yeah, so taking a look at this, you can really see Gunner, standout performer in the lobby, 11 kills above what we saw from GXD, who definitely kept the team of No Plans out of the dirt on some of those attack rounds. Didn't get that entry kill, but realistically, I think the cost speaks for itself. And the fact that when you're playing that support role and you're picking up a lot of these end kills, it's just saying, okay, look, we're not completely out of it. We can pick up these kills, we can take them out. But Gunner definitely stepping up, and not just in the interview, finding the entry kills, finding arguably some of the best stats that we've seen in the lobby, but you've got to give the other players a shout out. You've got to see Whitlock coming in supporting alongside Donkey, just not afraid to take the gunfight. See Donkey 5 and 3 on the entry, and 65% cost, with 2 plants. That's definitely indicative that your team aren't just relying on one player to do one role. You're all able to step up, and you're all able to support each other, which is definitely what you want to see moving forward.
You know what blows my mind is GXD in that far right-hand corner of the column. He has a 1, which means he planted the bomb. No plants was named No Plants because GXD does not plant the bomb. He's just incapable of doing so, but I guess he is now capable of. He's evolved into the next iteration of GXD, which means he needs to change the team's name. It can no longer be No Plants. It has to be something else along those lines. Maybe GXD 1X Plant?
Yeah, a major PR rebrand on the way, but we are unfortunately done for the evening. Tomorrow, though, we do have 2 games coming up, which you do not want to miss at all. Chief, is there any final words coming out from you?
Honestly, the teams that we've seen throughout SCS Season 5 have been phenomenal. They're playing well, and I expect nothing but greatness. No Plants Team Mystic have proven that today, but don't go anywhere. Tomorrow at 6 EST, we'll be starting things up and continuing on with week number 3. Stay safe, stay well.
A triple kill, but Son of Finn, he'll deny the plant. He sees 2 more kills. Oh my god! Son of Finn will find more!
Where's Miracle? He's trying to come upstairs, but Crafty will get the ace. He'll get the plant. He'll do it all.
Device, misses shots. He's gonna have to go for the front.
Oh,
He pushes
Dylan!
on through. Dylan is better.
Round 2, and there's another as Tyrant is finished off, and they all line up for Bone.